noted, there is really nothing for us to negotiate.
So while the Democrats and Republicans play politics, Americans caught in the middle. Food assistance programs impacted. Funds that assist low-income households with paying energy bills could run out by the end of this week as we head into winter weather, and air travel being impacted even more this noon. Flights at 40 high-volume U.S. airports, including Hartsfield-Jackson here in Atlanta, will soon be slashing 10% starting tomorrow morning if the government shutdown does not end. Joel Ortiz of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association says controllers are under a lot of stress.
It's real easy to say you're going to miss one or two paychecks. You'll get that money back. You're going to be okay. But no one knows when their paychecks are going to come.
FAA Administrator Brian Bedford announcing that the flight reductions will help take the pressure off those air traffic controllers. Officials say some controllers have not been coming to work because they've had to get another job, forcing those who do show up to work longer hours. Earlier in the week, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy had said that the FAA could be forced to shut down airspace in some markets if the shutdown drags on. Southwest, United Airlines both offering refunds to those impacted. Delta says that they will allow additional flexibility to customers who are impacted. They'll be able to change, cancel, or get a refund on their flights without penalty. Beautiful today, weather-wise, sunny and 75. A little rain this weekend, but frigid temperatures on the way for next week. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast at 12:05. A police chase through DeKalb County ends with 4 people in the hospital.
It all happened on Redan Road. State troopers trying to pull over a stolen Kia near South Indian Creek Road, but that driver refused to stop. During that chase, the suspect drove into oncoming traffic and hit a Nissan head-on, sparking a chain reaction crash involving 3 more cars and a police cruiser. 2 people in the Nissan suffer serious injuries. One of them had to be pulled from the car. The suspect in the stolen car was also trapped inside their car and had to be removed by firefighters. Troopers reportedly also find a stolen gun on the suspect in the process. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
FAA records this noon show that the UPS plane that crashed and killed at least a dozen people in Louisville, Kentucky recently spent time in a maintenance facility. Louisville Mayor Greg Greenberg says his city is supporting the National Transportation Safety Board's investigation.
Their job is to learn what happened, use that knowledge to prevent future tragedies like this from happening in the future.
Maintenance records show a crack in the jet's fuel tank needed a permanent repair. It was grounded in San Antonio from September 3rd until October 18th. We have an update this noon on the death of Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland. His death now being investigated as a possible suicide. He had played in Monday's game against the Cardinals and scored the first touchdown. He was just 24 years old. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi confirming today that her current term as a California Congresswoman will be her last in public office. Correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns has more.
2 years ago, she took a step back from leadership, and she was kind of recognizing what she was seeing in the party, which was a call for new leadership. And you remember, she was very influential in the decision to try to get Joe Biden to step aside.
Now, the longtime Democrat and first woman House Speaker announced her decision in a video this morning. New here at noon ahead of the Veterans Day. Coming up next Tuesday, Governor Kemp has welcomed active military and veterans for a ceremony at the state capitol.
The United States continues to stand as a beacon of freedom after centuries of challenge and times of war because of those willing to risk it all to protect their fellow Americans. Those are the people that we honor today.
Now, the governor acknowledged the bipartisan efforts of the legislature to pass bills in support of the thousands of veterans who called Georgia home. This year's ceremony had a little added significance since the Marines are celebrating their 250th anniversary. A big recall from Peloton today. The company is recalling some 833,000 of its original Bike Plus models, so every unit it ever sold, after receiving reports that the seat post can break and detach during use. 2 people have been injured. The Consumer Product Safety Commission saying that consumers should immediately stop using those bikes. Peloton is offering a free seat post that can be installed at home. Let's take a look at the market, see how your investments are working for you here at noon. The Dow right now is down 497 at 46,813. So the Dow's down more than a full percent. NASDAQ's down almost 2%. And the S&P's in the red. It's down more than a full percent. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center. How are we doing on the roads this noon?
It's a rough one on the south side. That's where we're going to focus our attention, Sabrina. You got that rolling road work, 85 southbound, leaving the airport in the I-285 region down into Union City and Flat Shoals Road there in 2 left lanes. Use Highway 29 as an alternate. 75 southbound. It has been bunched up all morning long, and I can't even find a reason why. Just lots of volume from Mount Zion Boulevard down past Hudson Bridge Road. Northbound slow, but that's due to right lane construction in Stockbridge. 75 northbound before I-675. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Warm sunshine through the day, high 75. Going to stay in the mid-70s for the rest of this week. Overnight lows in the upper 40s to low 50s through Saturday. Rain showers arrive late Friday night into Saturday morning, tapering off Saturday afternoon, and then another round of rain showers on Sunday with highs in the mid-60s. But the big freeze arrives Monday morning with temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s. Not much of a warm-up for Monday afternoon, highs in the low 40s.
We have 70 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Before I do anything else, I have a very important announcement to make. Is some of you have met my father at the various gatherings we have had, and today is his birthday, and I would like to wish my father, the 46th anniversary of his 40th birthday, or is it the 47th? I think it's the 46th. My calendar says 87, but I think it's 86. It's really like he's just reliving his 40th birthday over and over and over. I appreciate my father very much. I love him dearly. He's been unwell. I went over last week to see him and my mom, and it's old age sucks, but I love my parents, and I'm glad my dad is around to hear me wish him a happy birthday on the radio. Unless he's run to the bathroom, which I assume not. He tries to get that out of the way. Now he's mortified and embarrassed by his son, so I better shut up and get to the news. Happy birthday, Dad. Okay, we've got to begin with the reduction in aviation. It's actually a very big story here that we are having to deal with, where the government of the United States is ordering a reduction in flights around the country. They will begin with a 4% cut in flights tomorrow, another 4% cut in flights on Saturday, and then 2% on cuts on Sunday. Yeah. So it'll be 4% on Friday, 4% on Saturday, 2% on Sunday. These are the 40 airports affected as of tomorrow, midnight tonight, tomorrow morning. Anchorage International, Hartsfield Jackson, 2 Dead Mares International, Boston Logan, Baltimore Washington, Charlotte Douglas, Cincinnati Northern Kentucky, Dallas Love Field, Ronald Reagan Washington National, Denver International, Dallas Fort Worth International, Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County, Newark Liberty International, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International, Honolulu International, Houston Hobby, Washington Dulles, George Bush Houston, Indianapolis International, JFK in New York, Las Vegas, McCarran Harry Reid International, Los Angeles International, New York LaGuardia, Orlando, Chicago Midway, Memphis, Miami, Minneapolis St. Paul, Oakland, Ontario, Chicago O'Hare, Portland, Philadelphia, Phoenix Sky Harbor, San Diego, Louisville, Seattle, Tacoma, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, Teterboro, and Tampa. All of the New York area. You got Teterboro, you got, except Westchester, you got Teterboro, you got LaGuardia, you got JFK, you've got Newark. Their reason is legit. Now, they may be targeted at, you might say, because those are Democratic areas, although not all of them are. A number of them in Houston or in Texas are going to be affected. A number in Tennessee are going to be affected. The reason is because these areas of the country are already seeing air traffic control shortages. So they're seeing air traffic control shortages, and they're also seeing a major uptick in use, and they're seeing more delays, and they're worried because as there are fewer air traffic controllers showing up for work, that's more planes in the sky each person has to manage. They're cutting back and delaying flights. So they're going to reduce these. Now, there is a political reason. If we're honest, the reason it's coming now is between Donald Trump's statements in the election, the Democrats have less incentive to shut down now or to reopen now. You got to understand to a degree that Donald Trump has some culpability here, because instead of going after the Democrats, he's now targeting the Republicans to end the filibuster. And when Donald Trump is attacking his own party in the Senate instead of attacking Democrats, why would Democrats want to reopen the government? Also, they had a good election night on Tuesday. They think the voter backlash is against the Republicans, and so they've convinced themselves if they prolong the shutdown, the Republicans will have to cave, not the Democrats. Now, that's not actually going to happen. Not actually going to happen. The Republicans have no real need to cave. And I actually think the Democrats are probably sometime at the beginning of next week going to finally decide to reopen the government. It wasn't helpful for Donald Trump to start attacking the Republicans in the Senate over the filibuster. Now, what is the filibuster? We actually got a couple of emails yesterday. Can I explain the filibuster? Yes. In 1806, so let me back up to 1789 to 1806 in the United States Senate. To end debate, you only needed a majority. It was like the House of Representatives. In 1806, I actually think it was Aaron Burr was the vice president, and the Senate decided to update the rules, and they got rid of the motion to call the question with a majority, a quorum call of a majority. And you had to have an agreement of 2/3 of the Senate to shut off debate. For a very long time in American history after that, in the Senate, the rule is this, and this is where the filibuster comes in. So let me explain the House of Representatives first. In the House of Representatives, it's majority rules. So when a majority say it's time to cut off debate, it's time to vote, that's what happens. In the Senate, since 1806, you've got to have that. First, it was 2/3, then it was 60 votes. It's now 60 votes. In order to stop talking about something, to stop debating something, you have to have 60 votes. In normal parliamentary procedure, it's a 2/3 vote. Under Robert's Rules of Order, a call of the question takes 2/3. Anyone can say, if you're in a parliamentary setting, say, I call the question. And the question's been called. Is there a second? There's a second. We vote. If you don't get 2/3, they shut off debate. The rule is, though, once everybody's had a chance to speak, you can call the question with a majority vote. In the Senate, it's 60 votes. In the Senate, it's not the House. It's not majority rules. The senators have a lot of say in things. The whole purpose of the Senate is to slow down the passage of legislation. And so in the rules of the Senate, a senator can stand up and talk for as long as he wants. And as long as that senator is talking, no senator can bring other business to the floor of the Senate. And that senator can yield to questions, and he can answer their questions. And the rule is he's got to stand up. He can't lean on the table. And the moment he sits down, his time is done. And for, I think, the first 6 hours or so, if he's talking, he's got to talk about the actual legislation. After that, he can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. That's the actual filibuster. And when each member of the Senate has had their say, and again, each senator can speak as long as they want, and when every senator's had their say, a majority can cut off debate. But until that moment, until every senator has had the opportunity to speak once on the matter, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to cut off debate. That's the filibuster in practice. It's actually a very good rule. It slows down the work of the Senate. It makes it possible to pass things. But here's the thing. If you do a real filibuster where people stand up and talk, you can't do anything else. You can't do anything else. So that's the filibuster as it's supposed to be done. This is how it's done in practice, though. What they do is they're not actually there speaking about it. They bring it up. They make a call to call the question. They don't have 60 votes. So they set it aside and they go on to other business. See, what the Senate does, you got to follow along with me here. What the Senate does is they bring up the legislation. They don't have 60 votes to get it passed, so they set it aside and they go do a bunch of other business. So they're still passing legislation. They're doing executive nominations. They're confirming judges. Almost all of it is on the executive calendar, that is appointments and confirmations. They're not passing other legislation. And then they bring it up again. Don't get 60 votes. They set it aside. They go back and they confirm more judges, confirm more appointees. They hold hearings, all these sorts of things. So what they're doing is they're using the 60 vote threshold to cut off debate, but they're not forcing the senators to actually stand up and talk. They should force the senators to stand up and talk. The trade-off is this. There's a backlog of appointments for the Trump administration. There are a lot of people, we're 10 months into the Trump administration, there are a lot of people the president nominated who haven't been confirmed yet by the Senate. Not just cabinet appointees, well, not the sub-cabinet, other executive branch appointees, but also judges. So the Senate is not forcing the Democrats to have a talking filibuster because they want to do all these confirmations, and the Democrats can't stop those confirmations. So we're waiting for the Democrats to give them 60 votes, and there are, it appears, 5 Democrats who have been willing to break through, but they were pressured by Chuck Schumer to do nothing. They were pressured by Chuck Schumer to hold the line until after the election on Tuesday night. And now that the election is over, there was a lot of expectation that today the Senate Democrats would vote to reopen the government and give the Republicans 60 votes to cut off debate in the Senate. But then yesterday, the president went on his tirade about the filibuster. And when the president went on his tirade about the filibuster, he didn't attack the Democrats, although he did. He spent most of his time attacking the Republicans for refusing to get rid of the filibuster. And that, well, gave the Democrats license to say, you know what, I actually think that there's no reason for me to do anything.
The biggest thing is the filibuster. We have to get the country going. We will pass legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do the filibuster, they're going to pack the court. They want 5, at least 5 justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9, okay? They want new judges. They want to pack the court, and they will do it in the first day, maybe the week. Maybe they'll slow it down because there's no reason to rush. But they'll do it first week. They'll vote on this. And I have friends over there that are Democrats, I'm close to a lot of people. And I asked them about that because some people say, well, maybe they won't do that. I mean, they destroyed the career of Manchin and Sinema, and they got them out. They were the only objectors. Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day.
He goes on to tell the Republicans, you got to do this. They're not going to. They don't have the votes to do it. And by the president antagonizing the Republicans in the Senate, well, the Democrats have no incentive. They've got no incentive to end the shutdown because the president is targeting the Republicans. And if the president is fighting the Republicans, he's not fighting the Democrats, and that's causing angst in the Republican base. You've now got a lot of young Republicans who are yelling at the Republican senators to get rid of the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster. They're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it. They didn't the last time. Then you heard the president say, well, because of Manchin and Sinema. Yeah, but even Manchin and Sinema went on the record and said there were other Democrats who didn't want to get rid of the filibuster, but they didn't have to vote because Manchin and Sinema were. So why make the progressives mad? The Democrats want the Republicans to get rid of the filibuster because the Democrats know they don't have the votes to get rid of the filibuster. They want the GOP to do it now. That's what the Democrats have been saying. And now the president comes along and echoes them, get rid of the filibuster. They're not going to get rid of the filibuster. We don't want them to get rid of the filibuster. But the Democrats today probably won't vote to reopen the government. And so those of you with flights, I'm one of them. I got to fly out tomorrow. I'm headed to Las Vegas, one of the affected airports. To be clear here, note to Delta, I don't mind if on Sunday you have to cancel my flight and I got to come back on Monday. I'm totally fine staying one extra day in Las Vegas. If you got to cancel, now the guy I'm going with, he's got to be at work on Monday. That'll be problematic, but I'm okay. If I need to take one for the team once I get there, I'm okay staying an extra day. I'm sure Charlie can find somebody to deal with the show on Monday. I'm totally fine, Delta. If you just get me there, please, tomorrow. Just get me there safely tomorrow, and then I will be fine. And I'm happy to take one for the team. I know we got to give these air traffic controllers a rest because the Democrats are just flat out refusing to reopen the government, and they don't think they have an incentive to after Tuesday night's elections and Donald Trump's attacks on the Republicans.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues leaving the airport heading 85 south towards Union City. You got that rolling construction and 2 left lanes at Flat Shoals Road, exit 66. Use Highway 29. Also, right lane construction, Stockbridge 75 northbound before I-675. Downtown, a few brake lights on I-85 southbound, starting right around Georgia 400, staying sluggish down to North Avenue, and construction in Gwinnett, Lawrenceville Highway, Sugarloaf Parkway, right in that intersection. Traffic brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you'll find everything you need for the holidays, all for under $35. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Chris Chandler. Friday at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News, the weekend forecast and when do the freezing temperatures arrive. Coach Smart previews the Mississippi State game and Clark Howard's tip to shop smarts when it's time to eat out on WSB.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response that they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
It's essential, complicated, and if it breaks, you could have a disgusting mess. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic, and the experts you hear on the Home Fix-It Show. Slow drains, gurgling sounds, or pooling water and odors in the yard? Don't ignore these symptoms. Call us today.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Call for more information.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Attention veterans and active military, thank you for your service. Overhead Door Company of Atlanta will double your veterans discount in November. Veterans and active military get 10% off through November at Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. 10% off all doors, openers, any service or repair. Schedule a free in-home estimate for your new garage door or save on your annual garage door tune-up in November. Schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404 USA Door.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Over at the White House, the President of the United States announcing cuts to the weight loss drugs. Your GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, and the like, they're going to be reducing some prices and making more accessible the weight loss drugs, which there's a growing argument that if they were more readily available, a lot of health conditions due to obesity would go down in the country. We will see if that actually happens. Also, there is some breaking news that actually just hit the wire as I was talking. Steve Witkoff, the special envoy to the president, says a new country will be joining the Abraham Accords. That is the peace deal in the Middle East that recognizes Israel and gives trade benefits between Middle Eastern countries and the United States. That's a very, very big deal. The White House also saying we've dropped infertility drug prices. And so you got infertility drug prices coming down, a weight loss medication drug prices coming down, and a new addition to the Abraham Accords coming up. We'll find out who that is probably before the end of the show. Folks, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them and save $200. Get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. Eden, like the Garden of Eden, pure is the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. So they're an air purifier, and they get rid of dust and pollen very effectively. They also kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through the machine. But where they really shine, the way I use them, is an air purifier that eliminates odors. It generates ozone. And ozone eliminates odors. And ozone, because it's a gas, it's O3 instead of O2. It goes where the odors originate and wipes them out at the source. So it's very effective at it. I keep one in my travel bag. In fact, I'm headed to Vegas tomorrow, and I have one with me, just in case someone has smoked in the hotel room, or has happened before. Smoked in the room next door, the Eden Pure Thunderstorm wipes out the odors. You can get 3 of them and save $200. Get them for less than $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, at EdenPureDeals.com. You can thank me later. When we come back, I want to talk about OpenAI. They're now asking the government to subsidize their chip purchasing. I'm thinking OpenAI sounds more and more like Enron, and I'm afraid they're going to dive us into a major financial crisis as a country if we're not careful with it. AI, I'm not scared of it, but I think it's about to wreck the economy.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Air travel this weekend could be a big headache for people coast to coast if the government continues to be shut down. The Transportation Department saying today thousands of flights could be canceled tomorrow, and that's just the start. U.S. airlines have been ordered by the DOT to reduce air traffic by 10% starting Friday. Reporter Karen Waugh is following the situation.
Major hubs like Denver and Atlanta and Los Angeles, they're going to have their flights reduced. Also, all three airports serving New York City and Washington, D.C., they're also going to be impacted. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to impact the traffic coming into airports and how their security screening points are going to be able to keep up with that.
And this just in from Hartsfield-Jackson International. We've gotten an email from them. It says that the airport is, quote, preparing to activate measures to ensure passengers that may be affected by the FAA flight reductions continue to have an optimal experience. Now, Delta is saying today that they will be allowing additional flexibility to their customers who are impacted by the change. They can cancel, change, or get a refund on their flights without penalty. Southwest and United Airlines offering refunds to those who may be impacted as well. Americans on SNAP will receive more for November than initially anticipated. The USDA now saying 65% of benefits will be paid this month as the government shutdown continues. It previously had said only half of the SNAP benefits would be able to be paid this month. Beautiful today. Get out and enjoy it. Sunny and 75, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. President Trump saying that he has struck a deal to lower weight loss drug prices for Americans. Speaking from the White House today, the president says the price of the drugs could be available for as little as $149 a month. These drugs, which include Ozempic and Wegovy, currently go for over $1,000 a month and are not covered for weight loss under Medicare. This deal is part of Trump's favored nation drug plan, where U.S. residents would pay the same as other countries for the same drugs. And former House Speaker and current California Representative Nancy Pelosi announcing her retirement today on social media. She says she will retire after her current term ends next year. It's 12:32.
The holidays are approaching, so let my friends at Publix help you save money by shopping on the buy one, get one deals each week. Hey, it's Mark Aram. Yeah, there are BOGOs galore at your neighborhood Publix supermarkets. I love going in there and just following the yellow brick road of BOGOs. Save when you shop with the latest buy one, get one free items, deals on your favorites, and make sure you check out the BOGO deals before you shop. You can find the weekly ad online at Publix.com or in the Publix app. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
The Scott Antique Markets is back at the Atlanta Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. We're on both sides of I-285, exit 55 on Jonesboro Road. Visit ScottAntiqueMarket.com for more information.
Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate and get the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle. Go to MarkSpain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's MarkSpain.com and start packing.
You're building a deck or adding a room, that's wonderful. But if you skip hiring an architect trying to save money, well, the builder's going to need drawings anyway. They're going to hire an architect regardless and mark up their fees to you. That's why it's smarter to start your project at Sketchhouse. Hi, I'm Richard Taylor, architect at Sketchhouse. At Sketchhouse, we'll make sure your plans are code and zoning compliant, they'll be creative, and they will look great. You're going to save thousands of dollars with Sketchhouse Architects. We're going to make this easy for you. Go to sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, H-A-U-S, sketchhouse.com.
You can call them what you want. Water bugs, palmetto bugs, creepy, crunchy crawlies, whatever makes you feel better. But a roach is a roach by any name you give it. And you want to get rid of the roaches. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for Breda Pest Management. You can't avoid roaches. They're everywhere and just a part of life here in Georgia. However, you can protect your home and family from those ugly, crunchy, whatever you call them bugs with Breda. You don't want to see roaches anywhere, but it's the roaches inside your home that you want gone. A lot of pest companies have stopped treating the inside of homes to save money, but Breda's got your back. They do it right, protecting the outside and inside of your home. Got roaches? Better call Breda. Make your home a crunch and squish-free zone. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters like roaches.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Travel advisory continues 85 southbound into Union City. Rolling roadwork in 2 left lanes, passing Flat Shoals, exit 66. Use Highway 92. Just found a crash in Woodstock, Highway 92 eastbound, just east of Trickham Road, blocking most of the eastbound intersection. Police on scene to direct traffic there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies and warm for today. High 75. Lows tonight in the upper 40s to low 50s.
We will have more news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I want to move on from electoral politics and the politics of D.C. because I'm reading more and more stories about OpenAI, and I, you know, if you go back to the early 2000s, you had the Enron scandal and the WorldCom scandal. You had the collapse of Global Crossing, and it looks like we've got all of these things, Enron, WorldCom, and Global Crossing, all compiled into a single company that is OpenAI. Let me just read you part of this from Berbergen at the Wall Street Journal. If you don't know OpenAI, I bet you've heard of ChatGPT. That's their star product. OpenAI Chief Financial Officer Sarah Frier said that an IPO is not in the cards in the near term, and said the company hopes the federal government might backstop the financing of future data center deals. As OpenAI ramps up its spending on data center capacity to unheard of levels, the company is hoping the federal government will support its efforts by helping to guarantee the financing for chips behind its deals. The depreciation rates of AI chips remain uncertain, making it more expensive for companies to raise the debt needed to buy them. Isn't that a curious phrase, to raise the debt needed to buy them? What has OpenAI done? See if this sounds normal to you. OpenAI got NVIDIA, the big AI chip manufacturer. They make graphic processing units, GPUs. NVIDIA invested $100 million into OpenAI, and then OpenAI bought $100 million worth of NVIDIA chips. Where was the money? The chips went to OpenAI. So NVIDIA sent money to OpenAI, which sent the money back to NVIDIA, which sent chips to OpenAI. Where's the actual exchange? It's like an NVIDIA exchange. NVIDIA sent them $100 million worth of chips for nothing. And then there's AMD. OpenAI then, after going with NVIDIA, announced that it was going to take a stake in AMD, the Intel competitor. And AMD stock soared, and then OpenAI sold the stock that it had bought after having announced it was going to invest in AMD, and then used the money from the sale of the stock, the profit, to buy AMD chips. Does any of that sound, for lack of a better word, kosher? Does any of that sound legitimate? And now along comes OpenAI saying, hey, we really want the federal government to backstop the financing of future data center deals. Let's talk about the data center deals. In small towns across America now, and in rural parts of the country, there are massive data centers being built. The land is cheaper than in urban areas. So they can build these massive data centers. Those data centers then use a tremendous amount of energy. Natural gas usually, but sometimes coal. Occasionally wind and solar, but because they're running 24/7, it's typically nuclear power, although that's mostly down in Georgia now. Typically natural gas or coal, using a tremendous amount of energy. Some data centers in North Dakota are using as much energy as cities in the South. So let's talk about the cascading effects. OpenAI is funding itself through these weird deals. It wants a federal backstop on its data center deals. It and these other companies are building these massive data centers that consume massive amounts of energy. Power companies are having to expand the power grid and upgrade the lines. What happens when they collapse? What happens if they collapse? It's not just going to be OpenAI that goes under. They're going to be real estate companies holding massive, unusable data centers that are going to be empty because the parts are going to be sold at cost, at auction, to try to recoup losses. The power companies will have all sorts of excess power now that they're not going to be able to sell, which will financially hurt the power companies. The small towns that are getting big property tax increases, that are building out small towns, are suddenly going to no longer have the revenue stream they had because the data centers are going to be gone. You're going to have a cascading effect on society. It's not just going to be OpenAI. And in the meantime, they're costing jobs. Now, they're not costing all the jobs. They're costing some jobs. I actually am in the camp that believes that the loss of jobs from AI is going to be smaller than some expect. And by the way, there's an overarching layer here about those job losses. Let's review here to get to this point. OpenAI is getting NVIDIA to give them $100 million. They're sending that money back to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is sending them $100 million worth of chips. OpenAI is announcing that it's going to invest in AMD, and then when the stock goes up, they sell it and they buy chips from AMD. They want the government to backstop them. They're building these massive data centers requiring massive buildup in the power grid. They're doing it in rural parts of America. They're generating money from those parts of America, all to produce an AI product called ChatGPT that a lot of people have started using and hardly any companies have seen a return on investment in. Most of the companies that are using the products from OpenAI, from Google, from Perplexity, all of these OpenAI's like chat AI products, businesses aren't seeing a return on investment from them. Which tells me another thing, that they're not profitable. The people using them aren't seeing a return on investment. They are costing some jobs, but here's how they're costing jobs. OpenAI is taking white-collar starter positions. Where you might have had a kid fresh out of college building spreadsheets for you, OpenAI is now building the spreadsheets. Where you might have had a kid out of college running an Excel spreadsheet and running numbers for you, now AI can do that. So now what's going to happen is the kids are going to get the jobs. They're not going to get the starter positions. It means they got to go get their grad degree, and they got to jump into a company a couple levels above the jobs AI has taken. So kids are going to have to go into more debt when they get out of college by going on to get their graduate degree before they start working at a company to jump ahead of where AI is, which is going to profoundly disrupt education and the debt related to education. And companies are still not yet seeing a return on investment. We are in a bubble. It's obvious we're in a bubble. The sorts of business deals that OpenAI is doing by itself, and this doesn't include all the other chat-like AI companies, the ones that OpenAI alone are doing are deeply destabilizing to the economy. People talk about black swan events. Black swan events are those economically destructive events that come along that people don't necessarily see. It's an unpredictable occurrence that has an extreme impact. You oftentimes don't see it until after it's come, and then you say, oh, that was entirely predictable. This is entirely predictable. It's an entirely predictable event that something economically disruptive is coming, and it's going to be because of AI, and it's going to be because, like the internet darlings of the 1990s, they're not actually producing a profitable, reliable product that people can benefit from. That's not saying AI is going to collapse and go away. The internet's still here, but all the internet companies went out of business. WorldCom and Global Crossing, they built up massive supply of cable communications and the pipeline for data, and they were just years ahead of it. And they built so much capacity, and then they had accounting scandals to try to cover it, at least WorldCom did, and they went bankrupt. Enron went bankrupt. It cooked the books. It engaged in shady financing of products. We're back to Enron, Global Crossing, and WorldCom, but it's just one company now, OpenAI, with all the shady deals. And I'm sorry, they're shady deals. When you got NVIDIA giving them money and they're giving the money back, and then NVIDIA's giving them chips, that's not a sound business transaction. And they're costing people jobs for a product that isn't generating a return on investment. They're generating tax revenue for small towns that are becoming dependent on a tax revenue that could be ephemeral and go away. This is very much like the 1990s .com bubble. Pets.com made a big splash, got a lot of attention with its ads at the Super Bowl, and it collapsed. The number of major tech companies in the internet bubble that got everybody's attention, provided some sort of good at the time, got massive capitalization, and then collapsed. And now think about this. This goes to something I said yesterday. A lot of these companies are capitalizing themselves off the public markets where there's less scrutiny, where the SEC isn't digging in every day, where the public can investigate the books and the public filings. There are no public filings because they're not in public, they're in private, and they're getting private capitalization. And they're getting that private capitalization from banks, from venture capitalists, from private equity funds. They're spreading their risk among a heavily leveraged already financial industry. Without a lot of public oversight or public disclosures, y'all, we're headed towards not good economic times again. And here's my fear. Because of the arrogance of these companies, because of the wealth of the people backing them, because of the catastrophic economic consequences that are going to come from their collapse, don't expect the next populist shift in this country to be on the right. This isn't free markets at work, but people will say it's free markets at work. And in the process of blaming the free market, the AOCs and the Elizabeth Warrens and the Bernie Sanderses of the world are going to capitalize on the chaos of the financial collapse that comes and try to push this country further to the left with more socialist policy, where the technocrats in Washington spend more time picking the winners and losers. We're not in a free market situation here. There aren't arm's length transactions happening. We've got corporate greed. We've got cronyism. We don't have capitalism. We've got corporatism. We've got cronyism. And we've got Washington in the bed also trying to do backstops financing for these events using the taxpayers' dime at a time that we're at $39 trillion in national debt. We have designed a system now where the technocrats are involved and the big businesses are shielded from scrutiny. The government gets to pick winners and losers, and you are always the loser. You're always the one who has to back the bailout. We have denied the ability of the creative destruction of the marketplace to take effect because the government picks the winners and losers and protects the winners. And they're doing that with OpenAI right now and these other companies. This is WorldCom, Global Crossing, Enron combined, and it's going to have a devastating effect on the economy when it blows up. And I hate to be the one, the Cassandra in the moment that nobody listens to, but you can see it coming with the way they're structuring these deals. And they're going to drive up costs for college grads to try to get jobs in the process, and they're going to fester and foster resentment together. And when the whole thing comes apart, you're going to have AOC and Bernie Sanders there claiming that they're here to help and what we need is more government. And that's exactly the wrong lesson to learn, but it's the one a lot of people are going to believe because they don't see the nefarious hand of the government behind helping OpenAI deal with these sorts of issues now. They don't see anything other than the greedy Silicon Valley guys structuring an economy that's going to go belly up pretty soon. and it'll be the private sector that becomes the fall guy when this isn't really the free market working.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Cool-Ray Carrier Traffic Center. Travel advisory continues into Union City with that rolling roadwork 85 southbound. Now right around Highway 138 exit 64. Use Highway 29. Looking for new trouble, 285 southbound, the Interloop in Tucker, right around Lawrenceville Highway, Highway 29. You're seeing delays there. And a crash just cleared in Woodstock on Highway 92 eastbound past Trickham Road. Traffic brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Learn more about their support of common threads in nutrition education at anthem.com/dream. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia, Inc. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
We only want to be around people who think exactly like us.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
God forbid you actually converse about the world.
Eric Von Hessler.
Smash and conquer, my friend.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Lady beetles, stink bugs, and wasps are overwintering pests that don't hibernate, so they're anxious to get inside your home. Dave Baker here. No matter the season, Breda's got your back, protecting the inside and outside of your home. Inside pest control is crucial this time of year. You need to call Breda Pest Management now. They handle bugs, even the overwintering ones, and critters. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed right here on 95.5 WSB. Well, Chris, as you know, time just keeps on ticking. We're putting another year under our belt, so it seems like a really good time to take stock of our financial lives and put together that plan that's built to last.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate and get the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to bypass the market, receive an all-cash offer, and close in as little as 21 days. Mark Spain Real Estate's been in the business for nearly 30 years and has helped more than 72,000 satisfied clients. Trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home quickly and for top dollar. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there, it is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, If you text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, the 4 things to know this afternoon, and all the social media links. And you should be following me on Instagram because I'm going to be ruining an impressive golf course on Saturday, and I'm sure there will be pictures. I'm sure there will. Let me jump to the phones here. Chad in Montgomery, Alabama. Welcome, sir. How are you, man?
Oh, man, it's great to talk to you. I'm so glad you're talking about this AI disaster that's coming our way. My son and I have been kind of talking about it the last couple of weeks. I want to give you 2 canaries in the coal mine on this, all right? The first, of course, is Michael Burry, who that Big Short Michael Burry, remember him?
Right.
All right?
Yep.
So he just shorted Palantir and NVIDIA $1 billion on all this AI stuff. And what he is looking at is the fact that all these CapEx loans that are involved, he thinks they're going to fail. And like you were just talking about a minute ago, that's the money they are using to build these enormous data centers. And we have some in Montgomery. We got some up in Leesburg, Virginia. They're all over the place. The second canary in the coal mine is Deutsche Bank itself. A couple of weeks ago, Deutsche Bank started trying to protect its position. It has loaned billions of dollars to various AI companies to build these data centers. And so they are now creating default protection. Sound familiar? CDOs. They are using these things called SRT, synthetic risk transfers. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what they are doing is they are shorting their own AI stocks that they bought to cover the potential loss from the collapse of these loans that they've made to build these data centers. All right? Those 2 things alone, and you can say, Burry's wrong sometimes, he's right sometimes. That may be true. But Deutsche Bank knows what they're doing. They have billions of dollars out there in these data centers, and they are looking at it, and they're saying, I think we're overextended. We better short some of these AI stocks so that we can offset the losses with those profits that when we have the losses from these data centers. That's what's going on here. And if you don't believe me, remember Greg Lippmann? That's the guy who Ryan Gosling played in The Big Short. Yeah, well, he was the Deutsche Bank guy, right?
Right.
So these CapEx loans, the only difference that we have with those 2 scenarios is that in The Big Short, it was about the failure of mortgage loans. Here, it's going to be the failure of these capital expenditure loans that all these businesses have lent and borrowed in order to create these data centers. So there is, I'm telling you, there's a lot of smoke here.
It is. Thanks for that. That's helpful. I got to let you go there. But yes, thank you. Listen to Chad here. He's right. And yeah, Deutsche Bank knows their stuff. Americans for Prosperity is actually, one of the issues they're raising is how the government is involving itself in this stuff. It's providing incentives that actually destabilize the markets, and that's why they favor common sense conservative reforms, including on these issues. You can join them at afpvolunteer.com. But it's not just those issues that many of you find esoteric. It's school choice. It's tax breaks for moms and dads and small businesses. They advocate these things around the country. They advocate something called the REINS Act, which would require that state legislatures approve major bureaucratic regulations that add major costs to businesses. And around the country, they get volunteers involved at afpvolunteer.com, afpvolunteer.com. You can sign up with Americans for Prosperity today, get involved with AFP, become an activist, or just become really informed about what's going on in your neck of the woods around the country. They've got chapters in every state. afpvolunteer.com. I'm on their board of advisors, a great group, afpvolunteer.com.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooke, thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the costs of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, Only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than Big Wireless. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Our top story update on the government shutdown. The Transportation Department says that thousands of flights will be canceled tomorrow because of the staffing problems at airports around the country. Airlines have been ordered to reduce air traffic by 10%, including here in Atlanta at Hartsfield-Jackson. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries saying that Democrats want a detailed briefing on the plans to reduce air traffic.
The problem is it's like impossible to have a congressional briefing with House Republicans on vacation. 6 consecutive weeks they've canceled votes.
Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson on the shutdown.
Republicans feel very helpless about the situation because, as we've noted, there is really nothing for us to negotiate.
The government has been shut down now for 37 days. Your weather, beautiful today. Sunny and warm, highs around 75 before it gets downright cold next week. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. President Trump halted a news conference today in the Oval Office after somebody dropped to the ground. It happened while the president was surrounded by cabinet members and drug executives to announce lower drug prices. The unidentified person appeared to faint during that news conference. Police in Dallas and a suburb there say that 24-year-old Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Nealand was found dead of an apparent suicide after running from authorities in his vehicle and then fleeing the scene of an accident on foot. He was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound today. Federal health officials have sent out warning letters to 18 cosmetic websites selling counterfeit or unapproved versions of Botox and similar drugs. Steve Kathan has more on that.
The FDA said it took the action after receiving reports of injuries in connection with the products commonly used to smooth wrinkles, including what it said were symptoms of botulism. Botox is a diluted, purified form of botulinum, one of the most toxic substances in the world. The ingredient works by temporarily blocking nerve cells and causing muscles to relax. While okayed for cosmetic use, Botox is also approved for a number of medical conditions, including muscle spasms and eye disorders.
And Deborah Rodriguez reporting this afternoon, you might get a little bit of a break at the supermarket this month.
How can it be? The cost of Thanksgiving will be down when food prices are so high. Think the main course. A new analysis from the Wells Fargo Agri-Food Institute shows the average price of the holiday menu has fallen by 2 to 3% from last year, depending on whether you buy name brand or store brand food. While beef prices are going up and a bird flu affected some turkey flocks, the Institute's head economist tells USA Today many retailers who locked in lower prices ahead of time are passing them on to consumers.
And as we check the markets, the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P are all in negative territory.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed, or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 404-208-3300. That's 404-208-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
One of the biggest repairs on your biggest investment would be the foundation on your home. Mark Beckham here with Atlanta Ramjack. Other companies offer many different services and then try to upsell their customers something they don't even need. That's not what Atlanta Ramjack does. Foundation repair is all we do. We send only the most trained experts in the field and give you the best materials and an honest appraisal of what your real problem is, not more than what you need. Schedule your free estimate today at atlantaramjack.com.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter for D. Geller & Son. Treat yourself to Atlanta's best selection of fashion trends like stackable rings and gemstone necklaces. Guys, you want a bold new watch or a curb link chain? Ladies, trendy gold bracelet or personal birthstone necklace? I need you right now to go to dgeller.com or visit their showrooms in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. What's on your wish list? No pressure. Come try on or mix and match. dgeller.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Whether it's a walk-in closet, master closet, or pantry, unlock the true potential of your storage areas in time for the holidays. Schedule your free design consultation today at artisancustomclosets.com and reward yourself with affordable luxury this holiday season.
Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Found the trouble in Tucker, Sabrina. It's a stalled big rig in the second right lane, 285 southbound, the Interloop, Highway 29. Lawrenceville Highway, travel advisory into Union City and Fairburn. Construction in the two left lanes approaching Highway 74, Sonoy Road, and Jonesboro Road. Use Highway 29. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Warm sunshine today, high 75. Not quite as chilly for tonight. Lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, but still dry through the afternoon. Highs in the low 70s. Rain showers for early Saturday morning. Drying out Saturday afternoon. Still cloudy. Highs in the mid 70s.
More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation from Anchorage, Alaska to Palm Beach, Florida, and all points in between. Hi to those of you up on WTIC up in Hartford. It was great to join you guys up there this morning. The phone number here, 877-973-7425, should you wish to be on the program. I want to get to a piece I wrote this morning because I think it's really important. The United States of America is 3.8 million square miles. We're filled with 340 million people producing over $30 trillion in gross domestic product. We're the fourth largest country by land, third by population, and first by GDP. Yet we don't know each other anymore. We don't talk to each other anymore. We don't care for each other anymore. We don't particularly like each other anymore. We are isolated people staring at screens, filled with existential terrors about others, whoever the other may be, the Democrats, the Republicans, the progressives, the conservatives, the left, the right, the immigrant, the native. On Tuesday night, those existential terrors played out for the Democrats. Whenever the Democrats control the White House, Republicans show up and vote as if their very lives depend on it. When Democrats are in the White House, Republicans are at all the elections and fired up. And when Republicans are in the White House, Democrats are the ones who vote as if their very lives depend on it. Years ago, here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I am, there was a mayoral contest. And I want to play this for you. This is an advertisement. It appeared with the late John Lewis, Andrew Young, and Shirley Franklin, who had been the mayor of Atlanta. They were rallying people to vote for a black candidate in Atlanta, Georgia. And John Lewis has a line in here. This ad is designed to scare black voters to show up to the polls. And this is a radio ad from the 2000s. This isn't from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. This is from this century, and I want you to listen to this ad.
This is Congressman John Lewis.
And I'm Mayor Shirley Franklin.
And I'm Andy Young. On November 7th, we faced the most dangerous situation we ever have. If you think fighting off dogs and water hoses in the 60s was bad, imagine if we sit idly by and let the right-wing Republicans take control of the Fulton County Commission.
The efforts of Martin and Coretta King, Hosea Williams, Maynard Jackson, and many others will be lost. That's why we must stand up, and we must turn out the vote for the Democrats on Election Day.
And especially for John Eves, for Fulton County Commission Chairman. Unless you want them to turn back the clock on equal rights and human rights and economic opportunity for all of us, vote for John Eves as Fulton County Chairman. Your very life may depend on it.
This message paid for by...
Think about the end of that. That was John Lewis, who was a civil rights icon, was a member of Congress. Your very life may depend on it. You think the dogs in the street and the water hoses was bad? Wait till you get the Republicans in charge of the Fulton County Commission. That was an ad from the early 2000s for a man named John Eves, who won the election, by the way. It was played on black radio stations in Atlanta, Georgia. Your very life may depend on you voting Democrat. The Democrats have been doing this for quite a while. It's kind of new for Republicans. Democrats have been doing this for quite a while. Do you think the water hoses and the dogs and the police with batons on the streets were bad? Imagine Republicans being in charge. That's kind of what it is now. Remember, I mean, they're convinced that Republicans are rounding up citizens and disappearing citizens in this country. And so, of course, Republicans were not going to have a good night on election night. Republicans control the White House, and it's the Democrats who are in existential terror and needing to show up. But there's something else there, too. Because not everywhere has those existential anxieties. And the reality is, if you're a Republican, you can look at Tuesday night and say, well, actually, this was New York City and New Jersey and Virginia, not exactly friendly to Republicans. Glenn Youngkin barely won his election with Joe Biden in the White House. It sucks on Jason Mayeres losing, but I mean, this is a Democratic state. Of course, they're gonna vote Democrat. Now, a lot of that had to do with Winsome Sears as well. She ran a terrible campaign. It's true, Winsome Sears ran a terrible campaign and dragged down the rest of the ticket. Had there been a better gubernatorial candidate for the GOP, Mayeres may have won, even if the gubernatorial candidate lost. So Republicans can look at Tuesday night and say, it's not that big a deal. In fact, I've got a commenter on my Substack who is regularly, you're wrong, Erickson, you're wrong about all of this, you're wrong. There's no way anyone is going to vote for the Democrats. Don't you see what happened in 2024? The Democrats, it's going to be 40 years of the wilderness. They're never going to get elected again. And now, after Tuesday night, his responses to me are less shrill and more, I think you're wrong, but we'll see. Little bit cautious there now after what happened on Tuesday. The Republicans, though, can look at this and say it was just New Jersey, it was just Virginia, it was just New York. It wasn't everywhere except in Georgia now. A Republican state. There are two statewide elected, very progressive Democrats now on the Public Service Commission because Republicans didn't turn out. And I've got a lot of people say, well, actually, people were mad about energy rates, and in my neighborhood, they turn out. Your anecdote is not data. I've got the data. The Republicans in the state of Georgia did not turn out on Tuesday. In Texas, the Republicans did very well with constitutional amendments. In Austin, Texas, a tax hike failed. Republicans did okay. But they could have done better. And in California, of course, Republicans got blown out of the water. You can say, well, it's California. But here's the point. Let me run the numbers again for you. We are 3.8 million square miles of territory with 340 million people producing over $30 trillion in economic output a year. And we don't know each other. We don't talk to each other. We don't like each other. We isolate ourselves. Progressives, even more so than conservatives, but also increasingly conservatives. We are in information silos where we all get our information from different places now. We don't just watch ABC, CBS, and NBC. We don't even watch CNN and Fox. We don't watch MSNBC. We go on the internet. We go on YouTube. We go on TikTok. We go on Twitter. We go on Instagram. We go on Facebook. Well, the boomers go on Facebook. And it is just increasingly an information silo where you get your news from the people you believe. You get the information you want to hear from the people who are going to tell it to you like you want to hear it. And yet, across the United States of America, voters shifted to the Democrats. Hispanic voters in Georgia shifted to the Democrats. Hispanic voters in California shifted to the Democrats. Hispanic voters in New York and New Jersey and Virginia shifted to the Democrats. Wherever there was election, Hispanic voters shifted. Wherever there was an election, young white men shifted to the Democrats. Wherever there was an election, married women who actually tend to vote Republican shifted to the Democrats. Every demographic, not every, but just about every demographic shifted to the Democrats. Here's what I know is true, and it's not opinion, it's fact. You may not like it, but the truth doesn't care whether you like it or not. It's still the truth. In every election in the United States of America, that is a vast and divergent land of people who don't know each other or like each other or talk to each other, when they all shift in the same direction in an election, it's the economy, stupid. Your theory of the election doesn't matter. My theory on tariffs, I think, has some credibility because it's the economy. Your theory on deportations might have some credibility if it's driving up labor prices. But it doesn't matter. Here's what matters. The Republicans now know it's the economy. It's the cost of living. It showed up in exit polling in Texas. It showed up in exit polling in Georgia. It showed up in exit polling in Virginia. It showed up in exit polling in New Jersey. It showed up in exit polling in New York. It showed up in exit polling in California. Everywhere there were elections in this country on Tuesday night, what showed up in the exit polling was people are tired of the cost of living being so high, and now they're blaming Donald Trump. The honeymoon is over. He owns the economy, and the economy is not doing great. May be good for you, but don't get in the habit, like the Democrats did, of downplaying it. This is Ben Shapiro from CNN last night.
Republicans did not do well last night. And it's also true, obviously, that Democrats were very likely to win Virginia or New Jersey or New York. But obviously, Republicans don't take into account the fact that this is now a Republican-owned economy. And that this is a Republican-run country. I mean, the Republicans do run both houses of Congress and the presidency. And so if there's a backlash, it's going to obviously happen to the Republicans. And that is always the most likely scenario. I mean, I think that the question is going to be margins. Right now, there aren't that many vulnerable seats, actually, in the House. The number of challengeable seats is extremely limited. So I don't think you're going to get a wave that's 40, 50 seats, because I'm not sure that's possible anymore, given redistricting and given the big sort that's been happening. But for Republicans not to take some alarm at the fact that, obviously, these exit polls, which are showing economy still as the number one concern and inflation still as the number one concern, if they don't take that seriously, obviously there are going to be some serious effects in the middle.
Yes. Yes, there are. And you know what? You've got, so Bakari Sellers was on this panel with Ben Shapiro, and they were making a lot of sense. This is Sellers on the Democrats.
There are 2 points I want to make along the same lines that Ben was making. This probably will be the only time we agree.
I was like, y'all are agreeing on
something?
Start
off with a bang here. But yes, we have to think about the fact that, take Virginia, for example. Every single county in Virginia swung to the left. Every single county, not just one. And we're talking about 2, 3, 4, sometimes 15, 16 points swung to the left. In Georgia, what you saw around Atlanta, Fulton County, Gwinnett, Cobb, I mean, those folks came out to vote. And so you're starting to see those things. And last but not least, the issues that were at the forefront, and Democrats have to realize this, the issues that were at the forefront, like you said, were the economy, affordability, one. Number two, health care. A distant third was immigration. You know what was not in those top 5 or 6 issues? These culture wars, which Donald Trump pulls us down in, and we can never win them.
Yeah, I hope Democrats don't listen to Bakari Sellers, because Donald Trump does pull the Democrats down into these things, and they can't help themselves. Whether it's defending criminals or defending illegal aliens or defending boys and girls sports, the Democrats are never able to help themselves. It's just wild. It's wild how Donald Trump can master the left. But the problem for the Republicans is Donald Trump is not on the ballot. He's not on the ballot, and Republicans like to turn out for Donald Trump. And now it's their economy. They own it. Like I wrote this morning, and some people misunderstood the point, I believe tariffs are a problem, but whether you believe that or not, it's the Republicans' economy, and you got to find solutions to fix the economy because people feel like the cost of living is going back up and wages aren't rising comparably to offset the cost of living going back up. Groceries are more expensive. Republicans are touting how a Thanksgiving meal is cheaper this year than it was last year. A lot of that has to do with the cost of eggs coming down more than anything else. Grocery prices are going up, and now Republicans are perversely doing the same thing Democrats did when they were in office with Joe Biden, say, no, actually, don't believe your eyes at the grocery store. Prices are coming down. That's not helpful to Americans who are feeling higher grocery costs right now, which is actually happening. The Republicans have got to figure this out.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
120 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB Traffic Center. Better news in Tucker. They got that stalled big rig out of the travel lanes. Everything back open. 285 southbound, the inner loop. Highway 29, Lawrenceville Highway, exit 38. Still got the rolling road work in Union City into Fairburn, 85 southbound, passing Highway 138, exit 64. 2 left lanes blocked. Use Highway 29. Traffic brought to you by the International Hot Rod Association. International Hot Rod Association and Duran Hybrid, where the roar of the engine meets the torque of the wrench. Building champions on the track and in the trades. Get your tickets at ihra.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
1 in 7 Georgians and 1 in 5 Georgia children are estimated to be food insecure.
With SNAP benefits going away in the holiday here, times are especially hard, but you can help make a difference today.
It's the annual 95.5 WSB Triple Team Traffic Food Drive.
Go to WSBradio.com and contribute to help the Atlanta Community Food Bank.
Or come out in person on Friday, November 21st to the Publix located at 11800 Haynesbridge Road in Alpharetta.
Help a local family in need. Go to WSBradio.com to find out how you can donate today.
Remodeling your home's exterior requires expertise, experience, and attention to detail. That's what I built my business on. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors. I'm the siding and windows expert you hear on the Home Fix-It Show with decades of experience for all things exterior. Windows, siding, painting, roofing, decks, doors, and gutters, all with unmatched quality and craftsmanship. Even the small details are a big deal to us. Get your free estimate. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
If you're ignoring any cracked bricks or concrete cracks, you could be ignoring underlying foundation problems. You'll want to get ahead of these problems sooner rather than later. Don't wait any longer. Visit AquaGuard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember, AquaGuard.
This is Andy Harris, president at Coosa Valley Credit Union, where we believe in the power of human connection. When you call us, you're not greeted by a machine, but by a real person who's here to listen and assist you. Coosa Valley Credit Union. We're local, we're kind, and we're here for you.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell.
And I'm Monica Pearson. Dale and I have worked together for years, first at WSB, and today helping you find Georgia's best companies and sharing why they're the best.
Monica, one of the first companies I researched and recommended is AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care. For more than a dozen years, they've consistently met my 7-point standard and honored my Make It Right guarantee. And I know you believe in AMCO just as much as I do.
Dale, over the years, we've both reported about people people getting taken advantage of. So I'm keenly aware what it takes to deliver not just great performance, but great customer service. People who follow my advice literally stop me on the street and thank me for referring them to AMCO.
We all need mechanics we can trust for correct diagnosis, efficient repair, and fair price. Not just for transmission repair, but engines, brakes, check engine lights, and so much more. Call the locally owned AMCO near you.
And I know their nationwide warranty protects you everywhere.
That's AA.
MCO.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old, so don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Download the Prize Picks app today, use the code ROAM, and get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Y'all, I'm worried. I went to Starbucks and they accidentally gave me someone's pumpkin spice latte, and it's like, is this how people join the alphabet gang? They take an accidental sip of a pumpkin spice latte. It was disgusting. I kind of knew that the alphabet gang flavor profile was nutmeg, but I was just not expecting it to be as terrible as it was. No, thank you. I'm gonna go find me a pastor and do some conversion therapy outside of Colorado, I guess, just to make sure that I'm suddenly not like, I don't know. It was terrible. It was awful. You know what else is awful? I just got an email from Delta saying that stay tuned because they're going to start canceling flights. They're not saying it's my flight or anybody else's flight, but thanks to the government shutdown, Delta is going to start canceling flights. And I'm just not sure that I'm going to have the weekend that I want to have. I don't know. It's the government shutdown. The government shutdown. They're not actually blaming the Democrats in the email. They are just saying it's the government shutdown in a response to the government shutdown. But that is going to build some angst in Washington, where it's the Democrats who continue to screw up everything by refusing to open the government. And, you know, I'm actually a big proponent of government shutdowns. I think we could keep the government shut down. We're starting to have cascading problems, of course. Air traffic control, it might hurt me directly. I don't know. But listen, I think the SNAP beneficiaries, they're going to find resources. Local governments and state governments and food banks are going to step up. Americans are going to help because Americans are actually generous people, and we'll realize, oh, we don't need all the government welfare we've got. The military is going to be a problem because we do need to fund the military, and we're not funding the military. But, I mean, is your daily life being that traumatically impacted outside of those of you who are federal employees who aren't getting paid right now? Air traffic controllers got paid today. They got $0 in their paycheck. Literally, they got 0.00 notices. They're not going to show up for work much longer. The Democrats are going to have to cave eventually. We'll see where this goes. But I personally, I don't think we need the government to reopen. But that's just me. As long as the Democrats get blamed for it because they're the ones doing it. Now, let me tell you about Hillsdale College. Go to EricForHillsdale.com, ERICK, EricForHillsdale.com, and you can sign up with Hillsdale College. Take one of their amazing 40 classes to choose from completely free and expand your mind and horizons with Hillsdale College. They're actually really good video lectures with Hillsdale's fine faculty, 30-minute episodes depending on which class, depends on the number of episodes. Like the capitalism class, I think it's 7. There's one on Aristotle that has 10. There's one that has, I think, 13. But you can get them on, chemistry, math, economics, political science, history, philosophy, literature, theology, you name it. And you expand your mind. You find a topic and then go back and take another one. And there's no charge. They're actually really interesting as well. And by the way, they do have this 6-part series coming out. I was a little ahead of the curve, but stick around because the 6-part series on the American colonies is coming out, and it is really good. I thought it was already out. It's not. I've seen it, but you can go check it all out. EricForHillsdale.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Atlanta-based Delta Airlines saying it will reduce flights beginning tomorrow to account for a directive from the FAA caused by the ongoing government shutdown. Delta saying that the vast majority of their flights, though, will operate as scheduled. The airline's also allowing customers to change, cancel, or refund their flights without penalty during the impacted period. Other airlines, including Southwest and United, offering similar adjustments. Americans on SNAP food benefits will receive more for November than initially anticipated. The USDA saying 65% of benefits will be paid this month as the government shutdown drags on. It previously had said only about half of the SNAP benefits would be able to be paid this month. A lot of layoffs for corporate workers. Jason Brooks has a look at who was losing their jobs in October.
Outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas reports that employers cut more than 153,000 jobs in October, a gain of more than 180% from the previous month, and the highest monthly total since the fourth quarter of 2008, when the U.S. economy was in the grips of the financial crisis. Technology cut more jobs than any other sector in October, topping 33,000. While DOGE-related federal government cuts have led all sectors in 2025 at nearly 294,000. Artificial intelligence was cited for 31,000 cuts in October, now attributed for more than 48,000 layoffs in 2025.
And while we're talking about money and jobs, President Trump saying that he has struck a deal now to lower weight loss drug prices for Americans. Speaking from the White House today, the president says the price of drugs could be available for as little as $149 a month. The drugs, which include Ozempic and Wegovy, currently go for over $1,000 a month and are not covered for weight loss under Medicare. This deal is part of Trump's favored nation drug plan, where U.S. residents would pay the same as other countries for the same drugs. Let's take a look at the markets. We're in the red. The Dow is down 401 at 46,909. So the Dow's down almost a full percent. NASDAQ's down 1.5%, and the S&P's down almost a full percent. It's 132.
With the cool weather for the fall and the grilling and the football, there are so many options available for you for Omaha Steaks. And even now with all the programs at school in the evening that keep you busy and the Friday night sports and you don't want to cook, you can get ready-made main courses that you take out of the freezer, put in the oven, you heat them up, you're good to go. Omaha Steaks takes care of everything for you. You can get the desserts, the sides, everything. OmahaSteaks.com. If you use Eric, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout, you get an extra $35 off. Minimum order required. See site for details. OmahaSteaks.com. Now, here's the thing. We love the New York strips in my house. I'm going to cook them for the guys this coming weekend, throw them on the grill. Got some sausages, too. Everything comes from OmahaSteaks.com. It's delicious. It's great quality, genuinely great quality. They even have some really great premium selections you can find on the site. And at checkout, use promo code ERIC, get $35 extra off. All you do is go to OmahaSteaks.com. And again, the promo code box at checkout, put in my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, for an extra $35 off.
Shopping for windows and doors shouldn't feel like a full-time job.
Or like you invited someone over who never leaves.
It's Ted and Jonathan from North Georgia Replacement Windows. We offer a stress-free experience.
That means quick, accurate proposals without pressure or pricing games.
Plus, a detailed window installation that is quick, clean, and hassle-free.
Window and door shopping made simple with 0% interest available.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate and get the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Critters creeping? Better call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda is proud to sponsor Scott Slade, Georgia, every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
There's never a good time for your garage door to break, whether you're rushing to work or you're trying to get the kids to school.
Hi, I'm Tommy Mello at A1 Garage Door Service. We know how much you rely on your garage door. That's why we offer same-day repairs. Because life doesn't wait, and neither should you. When your garage door stops working, trust A1 to get you moving again fast. From repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. Call A1 Garage Door Service today.
A1 from day one.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Travel advisory into Buford 985 southbound. A large brush fire. Fire department on scene dousing it. Right lane blocked before Highway 20 Buford Drive, exit 4. You can use Highway 13 as an alternate as you come out of Flowery Branch. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Warm sunshine today, high 75. Not quite as chilly overnight with lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Daytime highs stay in the low to mid 70s for the rest of this week into Saturday. Our next chance of rain moves in late Friday night through Saturday morning.
We have sunshine at 73 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. We'll have more news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
I want to read you this tweet from Jake Sherman of Punchbowl News. He says, this is breaking. Chris Murphy, the senator from Connecticut, on flyout day, that is, this is the day everybody goes home for the weekend in Congress, says Democrats will damage their brand if they don't keep fighting on Obamacare now. Quote, we're certainly meeting the moment right now, but I think there will be some pretty substantial damage done to a Democratic brand that has been rehabilitated if on the heels of an election in which people told us to keep fighting, we immediately stop fighting. We're going to start operating on an increasingly short calendar. The 2026 election is 12 months away. If we surrender without having gotten anything and we cause a lot of folks in this country who had started to believe in the Democratic Party to retreat again, I worry that it will be hard to sort of get them back up off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle. That is Chris Murphy. Those of you up on WICC, WTIC in Connecticut, that's your senator who wants the government to stay closed as airlines around the country are now warning passengers that flights are going to be canceled, as federal employees are not getting paychecks, and as welfare recipients aren't getting welfare. They're not getting food benefits for their families. The progressives want to keep the government closed until they get their demands met. They're willing to shoot the hostages. I mean, we saw that with Charlie Kirk, aren't we? The progressives are turning more and more violent. And they don't care about starving kids. Now, I'm okay with the government being shut down, but I think most people aren't. And here's the thing I've kind of learned in life, in politics. Both sides overplay their hand. Republicans, I want to say something to you you're not going to like, but I need you to hear it. Because it's in the data. And the plural of anecdote is not data, and it may not be that it's your opinion, but it's showing up in the focus grouping, it's showing up in the polling, it's showing up in the election results. Hispanic voters in this country, contrary to what Democrats say, really hate illegal immigration. So they voted for Donald Trump. But now that they voted for Donald Trump, they are having a bit of a backlash because they think the way the deportations are being handled is cruel. The Republicans overplayed their hand on Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was a gangbanger, we think, from El Salvador. But a lot of Hispanic voters looked at it and said they threw him in an El Salvadorian prison and they wouldn't even get him back out. And a judge said no, or other people who were rounded up who weren't gangbangers and weren't criminals, the lawn guys, the restaurant workers, the grandparents, things like that. And again, just I need you to be a grown-up here and just listen to me. You may be cheering it on, but there's a constituency that's not, and they vote too. They wanted deportations of the gangbangers. They wanted deportations of the criminals, but they got it in their head that that's who was being deported, not the guy down the street they go to church with. But that guy got deported too. and the Republicans overplayed their hand. Think about this right now. Contrary to what you think, it's not ICE that's doing all these crazy raids. It's Border Patrol. ICE is actually far more reserved. They tend to have a target list. They go find the targets, and they tend to be criminals and gangbangers. And Corey Lewandowski and Kristi Noem have decided that they're being too targeted, and they want broader roundups, and they're pushing out the heads of ICE and replacing them with the Border Patrol guys who are the more cavalier, round them all up and ask questions later people. That's a disaster waiting to happen for the GOP because they've gotten too cocky. They looked at the polling, they saw Hispanics like deportations, they decided, let's go round them all up. And now the Hispanics are like, I think you went too far. You know, ironically, too, let's be real honest here, Donald Trump is getting penalized because he was too successful, too quick on closing the southern border. He's not getting a lot of credit for it anymore because he did it so quick, and now people have moved on to other stuff. And the media with the Democrats, remember, Erickson rule of the media, they cover the beneficiaries of Democratic policies. They cover the victims of Republican policies. They're highlighting a lot of victims of these mass deportations of people that people in local communities think, why did they deport that person? I know that person. That's not a bad person. They're not a criminal or gangbanger. And yet the Trump administration comes out and says, yeah, we're not stopping with the criminals and gangbangers. We're deporting everybody. You may be okay with that. I might myself be okay with that. But I'm a big boy enough to understand. I'm big in more ways than one. I'm grown up enough to recognize that there are other people than you and me, and they see the world differently, and they're not okay with it, and they vote too. Now let's do Democrats. The Democrats, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, he's the one who, the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, said Democrats need to be prepared to do things they wouldn't have otherwise done because democracy's at stake and this is war. He never apologized for saying things that some might believe would lead someone to get killed. He's doubled down on his shrill rhetoric. And now he says Democrats need to keep the government shut down until they get everything they want. I'm with Frank Luntz. I actually think that the shutdown politics doesn't actually help the Democrats. It's for real and true that Republicans in a lot of polling seem to be getting more of the blame, but I don't know that that actually lasts. The Democrats just won an election, and I think a lot of people could look at that election and say, okay, Democrats, now exercise a little bit of humility. You got a good election. Open the country back up, and they're not. And I think that that has the potential to blow up in people's faces, because I actually do think that the shutdown is going to hurt Democrats because progressives are going to overplay their hands. Let me go back to this Frank Luntz quote from Election Day.
How do you think this could affect the outcome tomorrow, might affect the shutdown? I mean, two big things that are happening with lots of political dynamics. It's just a crucial time as people are suffering, Frank. How do you think that could affect things?
You're correct. And this is the breaking point. When you don't pay our men and women in uniform, and they have to go without their weekly paychecks, and you start to have people who cannot afford their food and fuel, then it starts to have an impact. And then people start to say, why is this happening? I believe that the shutdown is politically motivated. I believe that if they wanted to, they could find common ground, but they choose not to. And that has hurt the Republican brand, the Republican reputation. Their numbers are down, as you point out in your own polling of Donald Trump. But the numbers that have fallen the worst, to my surprise, are the Democrats. Everyone is being hurt by this. Everyone's credibility and respect, and looking at the government, and the public just looks at this and says, why? Why can't you find some agreement? Why can't you give? Why can't you cooperate? And that's going to be a very big question Wednesday and Thursday when this election is over.
Particularly with the Democrats winning on Tuesday. With the Democrats winning on Tuesday, they could say, look, the American people are with us. Let's reopen the government. We're going to keep fighting. And when we get back to Congress next year, we'll make sure this stuff happens. And they're not. They're going to dig in their heels and say, no, we're going to keep shutting it down. We're going to keep it shut down. I believe that they are going to overplay their hands on the Democratic side because it always happens. It always happens to both sides. Both sides decide, nah, my side is right, your side is wrong, and I'm gonna keep doing this because I think the people are with me. And it turns out the people aren't with them. The people aren't with the progressives when their people in their communities are going to food banks and they're competing with government employees at the food banks who shouldn't have to be at the food banks, but they're there because they're not getting their paychecks. People aren't with the Democrats when they get an email from their airline saying your flight's canceled due to the government shutdown, and the Democrats are refusing to reopen the government. Now, I would tell Republicans, particularly the president, you need to message a little better here. Instead of talking about the filibuster, just talk about you're willing to negotiate, but the Democrats got to reopen the government. You're willing to negotiate, the Democrats got to reopen the government. Tell the American people you're not going to be held hostage like Barack Obama did, that you're not going to let the Democrats hold you hostage. Republicans do need to message better, and when the president is fighting the Republicans instead of the Democrats on this, there's no reason for the Democrats to reopen the government because the president is causing collateral damage at his own side. You got to message better, Mr. President. Make this about the Democrats, not the filibuster. Make it about them not reopening the government. And by the way, it is about them. That actually is true. They're the ones who are refusing to vote for the resolution Chuck Schumer himself authored. But you got to make that case. It seems like the Speaker of the House right now is the lone man out there making the case. If this goes on too much longer, though, the Democrats will have overplayed their hand, and this will not go well for the Democrats. Frank Lutz is in his panels. He's already seeing a shift. Republicans have been getting blamed. Suddenly, Democrats are getting blamed. Democrats won. They still won't reopen the government. They're going to overplay their hand because the right and the left at the outer edges always overplay their hand to their own detriment. Now, let me jump over here to Brian in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the show, Brian. How are you?
Great, Eric. Love your show.
Thank you.
I have a basic economic question for you. As you say, and I believe the economy isn't doing very good. I own 2 ice cream stores, and one in a poor area of town, one in a rich area of town. And I can see customers in both locations aren't making as much money or spending as much money. My question is, with so many people losing that have less wealth now than they did before, where is the wealth going? I know Democrats would say that the rich are just getting richer. Some Republicans would say lower income people are getting more free stuff. But where, in your opinion, is the money going that the rest of us don't have anymore? Who does have more money?
So
is
okay,
it a certain group or
no?
country?
So let's look at costs. It costs more to produce because of a tariff. So you go to the grocery store now, your coffee is 20% higher than it was 6 months ago. The cost of coffee. Why is the coffee higher? It's higher because of a 20% tariff on the countries of Central and South America that produce coffee. And the money you're paying isn't going to those companies, it's going to the government. Let's talk about aluminum. The aluminum manufacturers have raised prices in this country because the president has imposed tariffs on imported aluminum. So the domestic manufacturers said, hey, you know what? We can raise our prices too. So they're raising their prices, but then what are they doing with the money? Well, they could have diverted it to shareholders, except the largest aluminum manufacturing facility in the country burned to the ground. So now the money's going to rebuild the largest aluminum plant in the country as opposed to going to shareholders. Or let's talk about the other costs that are out there that are domestic costs. Where is it going? Well, there are certain business owners who are going to get wealthy. There are companies that you will ultimately see it come out of come into 401ks. But a lot of the money, when the president's talking about the trillions of dollars coming in from tariffs, that money's coming out of your pocket. You've got to understand that foreign governments and companies don't actually pay tariffs. It's the importer. When you at the customs facility at the local ports. When the person who's imported the good or service, or the good rather, wants to take it out of the port, they got to pay the customs agent to let them go, and that they're paying the customs agent the tariff that goes to the federal government. So most companies aren't seeing greater wealth, and you're not seeing greater wealth. The government, though, is getting $1 trillion extra dollars out of the economy that they're going to go somewhere. That's part of the biggest issue that we're facing right now. That's why the tariffs are bad, because it's a tax on the American people. And companies, many of them are eating those costs, so they're not giving you pay raises. So prices are going up for a lot of reasons. Inflation and other things, tariffs. A lot of companies trying to eat the costs as best they can, which means they're not raising wages, which means they're not reinvesting in their companies. There's a cascading and spillover effect of economic consequence, and none of it's very good. If Donald Trump got rid of the tariffs tomorrow, the stock market would soar and prices would go down. Prices would go down definitionally because the tariff is no longer there. And Americans would feel a real benefit. And maybe the Supreme Court will do him a favor, in spite of himself, if they rule the tariffs unconstitutional.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB Traffic Center. Travel advisory through Buford. Multiple brush fires being doused 985 southbound between Friendship Road and Buford Drive. So the right lane is blocked throughout that stretch there. Use Highway 13 as an alternate. Travel advisory in Union City. That construction rolling in 2 left lanes, 85 southbound. South of Highway 138, exit number 64. Use Highway 29. Traffic brought to you by the International Hot Rod Association. International Hot Rod Association and Duran Hybrid, where the roar of the engine meets the torque of the wrench, building champions on the track and in the trades. Get your tickets at ihra.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All the notifications you need.
The story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. Ever been looking for your favorite sweater only to find it in the bottom of the pile in your master closet, sitting on a wire rack, and when you put it on, you look like a waffle? Wouldn't be that way if you had Artisan Custom Closets upgrade your closets. Your clothes would remain beautiful all year. Schedule your free design consultation today with a certified master artisan designer at artisancustomclosets.com and reward yourself with affordable luxury over the holidays. artisancustomclosets.com.
This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory. People often ask me why our mattresses last so long. The answer is simple. We build them right. Not only are OMF mattresses durable, they give you peace of mind from day one. When you invest in a mattress from OMF, you're investing in better sleep tonight and smart savings for years to come. No more frequent replacements, no more wasted time shopping. To learn more about the true value of durability, visit originalmattress.com and read our latest blog on getting the most from your mattress investment.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Fall is here, and with it comes cool air and heavy rains. All that moisture doesn't just smell bad, it affects the air your family breathes and even your home's foundation. Hi, I'm Jeremy, owner of American Crawl Space Solutions, and we believe in a needs-based approach, recommending only what your crawl space truly needs. No high-pressure sales tactics and no price increase just because you don't commit today. American Crawl Space Solutions, your best value in crawl space repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions, foundations too.
I'm Channel 2's Lori Wilson.
I'm Fred Blankenship. Channel 2 Extra News this morning is the best place to be for breaking news.
So much is happening, and we're on it. Our reporters are the first to know in your community, bringing you fresh information, the best video.
We know you depend on us. It's why we're everywhere live to prepare you for the day ahead.
In the morning, see what's new.
Don't miss a day. Join us. Channel 2 Extra News this morning, 4:30 to 7.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, Damien, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. So, long-time listener, first-time caller, pray for your family all the time.
Thank you.
My question is, I hear you talk about the Supreme Court rolling back the tariffs. Are there any potential negatives with that? Or I know that sounds like a lot of positives, but are there any negatives that could come of that? And I'm going to hang up and let's do your response.
Yeah, Damien. Yeah, Damien, sorry. I thought I was hanging up the phone and cut off my microphone instead. Y'all, it's one of those days. That's why I need a break. Yes, there is a downside. The president's negotiated all these trade deals with these countries where they're tariffing our products to a degree, we're tariffing their products to a greater degree. If ours go away, theirs remain. What the president can do, though, is then refuse to allow their products into the country. That actually is legal under the IEPA, the Emergency Powers Act. So he could do that to force them to get rid of their tariffs immediately as well. And remember, we actually had a guy call and leave a voicemail yesterday and said, actually, nobody's talking about how all these countries were already tariffing us. And I've tried to explain this repeatedly, that we got exemptions from South Korea had tariffs on the United States, but actually they exempted us from the tariffs. They were on paper, but with an exception to 0% tariffs. Switzerland, there was only an agriculture tariff. No American products sent to Switzerland got a tariff except agriculture products. And we, guess what, imposed a tariff on Switzerland. But now the president's applied blanket tariffs. In Canada, there's a dairy import tariff from the United States, but there's a quota that we never actually exceed, except one time in the 1990s. So we never actually pay that tariff. In Australia, no tariffs on American products that are imported into Australia, where we actually have a trade surplus with them, and yet we're not tariffing them. So I get this call all the time from people saying, there are tariffs. These countries were tariffing us. Why can't we tariff them? Well, yeah, they had a tariff, but then they gave us an exception to that tariff, so they actually weren't tariffing us. And you hear the president say, well, South Korea is putting a tariff on us, and you don't actually... He never says the part about they've given us an exemption from that tariff, so we are not actually paying a tariff. That's the problem here. There's not a lot of honesty out there on the issue, but I'm willing to tell you what's true. I'm willing to tell you, for example, Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash where the government's trying to steer you towards debit and credit purchases because they want to be able to control and see what you're doing. No anonymity in your purchases. Swiss America has been warning people about the secret war on cash, and they want to give you their report completely free. All you have to do is call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency, too. It's growing, coming after your crypto. So just get this report from Swiss America. They've been the leader in precious metals in this country for 40 years. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save your retirement and finances. Call them at 800-289-2646 or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646 or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Message and data rates may apply. Let Swiss America help you out.
Everyone Everyone has an opinion.
I've had some great Mondays. I'm having a good Monday right now. Look at beautiful outside.
Got that nice loud shirt.
Eric Von Haessler has an opinion.
It's a citrusy, summery, I think breezy kind of shirt.
And some advice.
But just remember this.
Eric Von Haessler, today at 3.
I never have and never will smoke a cigar.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Cancer upends your life. We're doing all we can to change that. At Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University, we're reimagining the care experience to ease the burden of cancer with experts in your cancer and the research, trials, and treatments you can only get here. All so you can focus on what matters most, the best chance of living a full life. Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University. Cancer care designed around you and your life. EmoryHealthcare.org/Winship.
I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but the cold air is coming fast. That means a couple different things to me and you. Energy bills will be rising and company coming over for the holidays. Dan Watkins here with All Four Seasons Garage, entry doors, and windows. It's time to get your house ready for the winter air and your holiday visitors. The good news is that we have you covered for every opening in your home. So call us today to set up a free estimate with one of our amazing sales consultants. They'll help you pick out the perfect garage door, front door, and windows for your home.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story as Cobb County considers new rules for homeless encampments. Advocates for the homeless say there is a growing need in the community. Here's a report all new at 2 o'clock.
For Melanie Kagan, CEO of the Center for Family Resources and the Cobb Homeless Alliance, there's no doubt they've seen an increase in the number of homeless in the county. She blames limited affordability and a lack of shelter space, but development is also making the problem more pronounced.
As the community gets more developed and there's less hiding places, you're just going to see it more.
She says shelters that provide a path to permanent housing have the most success, but there's just not enough to go around. In Cobb County, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
74 degrees in Atlanta, not quite as chilly tonight. Wind to rain showers arrive. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A concerning report today on jobs.
Job cuts jumped to 153,000 plus in October. That was a 175% increase from what we saw in October a year ago, and it was the largest October total we'd seen since 2003.
John Challenger with the outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas says U.S. employers announced 1.1 million layoffs through October, the biggest total since the pandemic and on par with the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009. Hartsfield-Jackson Airport bracing for the impact of the FAA's temporary air traffic reductions. The airport says it's preparing to activate measures to ensure passengers who may be affected continue to have an optimal experience. Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock is co-sponsoring bipartisan legislation to pay for air traffic control, FAA, and TSA workers during the government shutdown. Americans on SNAP will receive more for November than initially anticipated. The USDA says 65% of benefits will be paid this month as the government shutdown continues. It previously had said only half of SNAP benefits would be able to be paid this month. An arrest during a stolen trailer investigation in Gwinnett County leads to the seizure of narcotics and over 24 guns. Using flock license plate readers, officers tracked the trailer to the home of Matthew Davis in Doraville, where a different license plate had been put on it. Corporal Angela Carter with Gwinnett Police says it tells us what the officers found during a search of the residence.
When they were inside, they located a large amount of narcotics, which included prescription medication as well as methamphetamine and fentanyl. And they also located over 30 firearms that were seized.
Davis is held without bond now in the Gwinnett County Jail. It's now 2:02. This news sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
You still want a new deck on your house, but you think you may have missed a deck building window? Well, you're wrong. Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations, my deck experts. What makes them my experts? Well, for starters, when you have Ben Hill Renovations upgrading your outdoor living space, you're dealing with professionals. You have a company building to code, current and future. You have a company pulling permits when needed, with a dedicated project manager for every job, superior craftsmanship from over 60-plus years of experience, and all backed by their workmanship warranty. Whether you want a screened-in porch, an outdoor living area, a multi-story wrap wraparound deck, or just a simple deck with a set of stairs, Ben Hill Renovations has you covered. Plus, they offer multiple financing options, up to 18 months, no interest with affordable monthly payments. Check out their new website at bhrenovations.com and set up an appointment, or visit their showroom and speak with a designer. You won't be disappointed. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Rates are continuing to get better, and lots of folks are taking advantage of them by calling Myland. This is Scott Slade. Access the equity in your home with a home equity line of credit or cash-out refinance. Then use the equity in your home to pay off high-interest debts, student loans, basement or kitchen remodels, or anything else you need. These guys and gals are the best I've seen, and that's why I've been recommending them for over a decade. Local experts you can trust. Why would you call anyone else? Every month, Myland closes a loan that other lenders just can't do. Also, Myland wanted me to let you know they're still growing, currently hiring for their incredible sales team. If you or someone you know might be interested in joining one of Atlanta's premier mortgage lenders, give them a call. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Online, it's myland.com. Spell it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Residential Mortgage License C148769, located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. Myland is an equal housing lender.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where since 1939, we've been helping Atlanta fill up their jewelry wish lists in a fun, laid-back atmosphere. We have a trained staff of jewelers, not salespeople, to help you find the right fit for any style, any occasion, and any budget. D. Geller & Son has Atlanta's best selection of fashion trends like stackable rings and gemstone necklaces, and the best value in staples like diamond studs and engagement rings. So come by D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
It's 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center, it's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Still dealing with the travel advisory in Buford, 985 southbound. Fire department's been dousing multiple brush fires before Buford Drive and after Buford Drive, exit 4. Go ahead and use Highway 13, Buford Highway, as an alternate there. And a crash in DeKalb County, 20 westbound before Wesley Chapel Road, jamming up the ride from the mall at Stonecrest. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Warm sunshine today, high 75. Not quite as chilly for tonight. Lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, but still dry through the afternoon. Highs in the low 70s. Rain showers for early Saturday morning. Drying out Saturday afternoon. Still cloudy. Highs in the mid 70s.
76 in Norcross, 70 in Austell, and 74 in Union City. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. I want to talk about Zohran Mamdani, but not in the way some of you might think. Look, I think that, by the way, there's news out that Mamdani has hired Lina Khan, who used to be in charge of the Federal Trade Commission under Joe Biden, whose management of the Federal Trade Commission was so incompetent that the White House had to force her to hire a chief of staff who was reported to Ron Klain of the White House. That's how bad Lina Khan's management was. You know, Lina Khan is the one who, the Roomba vacuum cleaner company is now going out of business because she refused to allow it to be bought, and now the Chinese are dominating the robotic vacuum industry because of her poor decision making, and she and J.D. Vance are friends. He liked her for some reason. But I want to talk about Mamdani, and by the way, I've been saying I think Mamdani, and I don't mean to because it is Mamdani. I want to talk about this guy in a different way. A lot of people in politics, because they're on TV, they go to New York a lot, they think New York is the center of the universe. You have a lot of conservatives who, they bash New York, but they like New York. I actually enjoy going to New York City. I don't like trying to sleep at night in New York City. The road noise and all the hotels, you can pay and get a really nice quiet room, but you're paying through the nose. It is. There are very cool stores in New York. There's, as I've mentioned before, my favorite store in New York City is a cookbook store on the Upper East Side, and you can find cookbooks going back hundreds of years in this store. They've got a home furniture goods store, and on every level. On one level is bed linens. On another level is kitchen linens. On another level is plates and forks and knives. On another level is outside stuff for your house. It's actually very, very cool. They've got great restaurants. Central Park is cool. The museums are great. The buildings are impressive. It's an impressive city to go to. I would not want to live there, but it's impressive to go to. I actually like Chicago a little more than New York City. The steakhouses. I don't know. I just like Chicago. I like Chicago because the Wrigley Field is there. I like to go to Wrigley Field. I kind of like Chicago. But New York is nice. Do I dare say I like the Chicago deep dish pizza? I mean, I like the New York pizza too. I like going to Brooklyn and go under the bridge to Grimaldi's. That's really cool. New York's a neat place. But it's not the capital of the United States. It's not the capital of Connecticut or Georgia or Florida or California. He's just a mayor. He's a mayor who has the potential to ruin a city that the world views as the capital of the world. The United Nations is there. Around the world, New York is kind of viewed as this iconic city. It's kind of interesting. When you go to Asian countries, a lot of them will wear Los Angeles Dodgers caps, LA. But a great many of them will wear Yankee caps, Yankee ball caps. And they don't so much affiliate the Yankees ball caps with the Yankees as they do with New York and America. And a lot of people around the world, I think, forget that Washington, D.C. is actually the capital of the United States. They think New York. New York is a big, iconic deal. It's in a lot of movies, but it's also just one city in the United States. It may be a very big city, but it's just one city. Zoran Mamdani was born in Uganda. He can never be president of the United States of America under the Constitution unless 2/3 of the Congress and 3/4 of the states agree, and that's not going to happen. Any more than Donald Trump running a third term is going to happen. There is this wild fixation all of a sudden. It's like the very same people who at one point insisted Michelle Obama was going to be the Democratic nominee are now insisting that Zoran Mamdani is going to be able to run for president, that the Democrats will find a way. I don't know where people get infected with this thinking, but the people who believe this are stupid. They got whipped into first. It was going to be Michelle. It's going to be Michelle. I got yelled at by callers who were insisted. I can't believe you don't see it. They're going to get rid of Joe Biden and make Michelle Obama the nominee. I was like, she says she doesn't want it. Joe Biden doesn't want her to have it. He doesn't particularly care for her. There's a grievance rivalry there. She and Jill Biden don't care for each other. There's no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be Michelle Obama. And then it's not Michelle Obama. And I was like, guys, you were wrong. Can you accept that you were wrong? And they're like, but it's going to be Mamdani, Erickson. It's going to be Mamdani. It was like, he can't under the Constitution. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be Mamdani. It's already started, and he's only been elected, 2 days ago? Less than 72 hours ago, he was elected. I think it would be a mistake for the Republican Party to make a massive deal about Mamdani. In the past, Republicans have run ad campaigns tying people to Nancy Pelosi, and it really didn't work in a lot of places. I mean, that's the dirty little secret, is it didn't actually work in a lot of places, tying people to Nancy Pelosi. More effective to tie him to a Barack Obama or a Joe Biden or a Kamala Harris when they're in the White House. Not as effective to tie someone to a representative from California. You can say, sure, but she's the Speaker of the House. Yeah, but most Americans, they pay attention to the president, not the Speaker. Those ads were done by Republicans, but there were some cases where it's effective, but in most cases not. And Mamdani will be even worse. It's a cheap thing to do. It's a cheap thing to do because I mean, he's there. He's overexposed. The media's platforming him. And you can scare people. But it's not going to be an effective thing to do. None of you today are going to go to the grocery store in fear that Zoran Mamdani is going to raise your taxes. None of you are going to go worry that New York City's policies are coming to your town. He's the mayor of a city. He's not the governor of a state even. He's not the mouthpiece or figurehead of the Democratic Party. Now, some would want him to be the figurehead of the Democratic Party, but he can't even be president. The obsession of the Republican Party to make this guy, in some cases, and let me be clear here too, and a lot of this goes back to the billionaires who funded Andrew Cuomo. Billionaires are some of the dumbest people you will ever meet. And I know a number of billionaires. Some of them are quite smart. But here's the problem. A lot of billionaires are very good at making money, and they're very smart about that which they made money from. But they think because they're smart about that, they're smart about everything else. And they're surrounded by a bunch of yes men and sycophants because they want access to their money. They want to fly on their private jet. They want to be able to vacation with them. And so they're, oh, yes, you're so brilliant. You're so brilliant. Yes, do this, do this. Oh, this is such a good idea. I know a billionaire who I am not friends with because he told me about the idea that he wanted that everyone thought was genius. And it was a stupid ad campaign. And I told him I didn't think it would be worth it. I am definitely not in this guy's circle of friends anymore as a result. Because it was a commercial idea, and it was just too, I can't even remember what it was really about. It was something about solar power, and it was dumb. He ultimately, thankfully, got talked out of doing it, but the people around him just thought it was a brilliant idea. Billionaires get surrounded by yes men, and they think they're brilliant, and those billionaires decided, you know what? Andrew Cuomo, he couldn't win the Democratic primary, but we're going to fund his independent campaign against Zoran Mamdani. Even though he killed everybody's grandmother and sexually harassed their granddaughter, we're going to fund his campaign. And now we're going to bully Curtis Lewa to get him out of the race. And, of course, Mamdani was going to get elected. I don't really know anyone who thought Andrew Cuomo could beat Mamdani other than like Bill Ackman and some of the Twitter billionaires who just in their group think are like, oh, yeah, if only we get Curtis Lewa out and the moon shifts 1 degree on its axis and a frog leaps out of the Jackie Kennedy oasis or a reservoir at Central Park. If all those things happen, he's going to win. We can make it happen. Go smack the water and see if you can get a frog to jump. No, it wasn't going to work. And now you've got these strategists are like, oh, we're going to make Mamdani the face of the Democratic Party. Why? He's not in Congress. He's not running for president. Maybe move on. Maybe deal with other things. You know, here's a story that Republicans can deal with legitimately. This is NBC3 out of, I think, Topeka or Wichita, Kansas. Listen to this.
Coldwater, accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course before making any further comments, unquote.
Now, you know, they keep saying the thing that doesn't happen. It seems to be happening, and this one is next level. It doesn't happen often, But we've now got, the school board guy in Iowa who had been in Baltimore. We've now got the mayor of Coldwater, Kansas. Which fascinated to me as well is that he could be a non-citizen and elected mayor, let alone have voted. He didn't vote in the presidential election. He didn't vote in 2020 or 2024 presidential elections. That's just wild to me. That's a bigger issue than Mamdani, because that's the Democrats' illegal immigration policy. And there's a way to pivot back from rounding up the grandpa and deporting him when people in the community liked him and focusing on this is a real problem that Democrats are enabling. It's one of many problems where Democrats are on the side of the people breaking the law. And you can use Mamdani as a reference, but you don't make him the star of the show because he's never going to affect most people. But Republicans in Washington have this idea that they got to have a figurehead at the top of the Democratic Party to tie them to. And he's not an effective figurehead to tie to the top of the Democratic Party because he's just the mayor of New York City. Most Americans are never going to go to New York City. They're not going to be impacted by the mayor of New York City. Nancy Pelosi's on her way out. She formally made clear what I told you was going to happen yesterday. She said she's out. They're praising her. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who went on The View the other day and was fawned over by Joy Behar. Joy Behar hates everything about America, and yet she loved Marjorie Taylor Greene. That should tell you everything you need to know about Marjorie doing her press tour, who says she might run for president, by the way. Marjorie might run for president. I actually think it's a brilliant idea for Marjorie Taylor Greene to run for president of the United States. It's just wild to see her praising Nancy Pelosi and taking up the Democratic talking points. Yeah, I actually think she should run for president of the United States. Of course, if she did, the Democrats would tie us to her, and it would be more plausible than tying Democrats to Mamdani, the mayor of a single city in America.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool-Ray Carrier Traffic Center still dousing those brush fires. 985 southbound between Friendship Road and I-85. Right lane is blocked. Use Highway 13 to Buford Highway as an alternate. Car fire cleanup 85 northbound into DeKalb County just north of Claremont Road. Exit 91. That blocks 2 right lanes. Slow from North Druid Hills. Use the access road or Buford Highway. Traffic brought to you by Total Joint Specialist. Is hip or knee pain slowing you down? Find relief with internationally renowned hip and knee care right here in Georgia. Visit TotalJointSpecialists.com today and get back to doing what you love. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
WSB is your home of the Dogs.
Snap it back, hand it to Bowen.
This week, Georgia battles Mississippi State in an SEC showdown.
35-30, down the hatch.
This Saturday, broadcast kicks off at 8 a.m., kickoff at noon.
20, 10, 5, touchdown.
Only on your home of the Dogs, 95.5 WSB.
Chauncey Bowens, he ripped him a new one.
Brought to you in part by Hoffman Financial Group, official partner of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Are you starting to consider a new roof, but not sure if it's needed or what it might cost?
Tim Andrews, if you're going to impersonate Scott Slade, you might want to add a little bottom.
A little bottom to it.
A little bass, yes.
I'm working on that.
Well, you don't have to impersonate me. We're both here for FGA Roofing.
I know them.
FGA Roofing offers their free drone assessment. And you'll know if it just needs a fix, a rejuvenation, or a new roof. They'll quote you a price, and if you mention Scott Slade, they'll take $750 off the quote.
What about me?
Mention Tim Andrews, they'll take $750 off the quote.
That's $1,500.
If you mention both of us. And here's the best part. That quote is good for 1 year.
With your good credit, you can take advantage of their 000 offer. That's 0 down payment, 0 payments for 18 months, and 0 interest.
They offer all types of roofs, from architectural or any of the high-end roofs like Slate.
Take the first step now and set up an appointment at FGAroofing.com. That's FGAroofing.com.
Or just Google FGA Roofing.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. at least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the portfolio x-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the portfolio x-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It is Erick Erickson here. Yes, you can be on the show, 877-973-7425. Daryl, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Eric.
Sure.
I had an idea. I know it's probably not plausible. However, I think it will have some effect. It will help Trump defeat the idea that the Democrats are winning this war with the government shutdown. And that is this. I was thinking if he were to ask Congress to tie the tariff revenue to a healthcare fund that would help all the SNAP and the Medicare and additional health issues that Obamacare will expire, I was thinking that would be a benefit to him. Now, I don't know if it's plausible or not, but you know, many of the things that Reagan proposed weren't probable or plausible, but Trump needs to get a better handle.
Yeah, you know, so to your point, now it would actually take an act of Congress to do that, which they're not going to do because of the government shutdown, obviously. But at the same time, the president could do that. Now, of course, Democrats would suddenly like the tariffs. The tariffs are hurting the economy. We'd be stuck in a doom loop. With the tariffs hurting the economy to fund health care to make insurance executives rich. But, I mean, look, it would at least be something to segment himself away from where the Democrats are right now. Right now they're claiming the tariff money is going to pay down the debt. You know, it was interesting. That came up yesterday in the Supreme Court where the Solicitor General said the tariffs aren't really revenue raisers. They're just to change trade policy. And then the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said, well, then why are you guys bragging about them generating enough money to pay down the debt? And the Solicitor General had no opinion or response. Now, let me tell you about Vision Computers because they would love to do business with you. If you call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com, you can let Vision help you with an incredible computer deal where, they do managed IT services, and you get it for free if they build your computer. They can upgrade your existing computer. But if you're worried about scams right now, there are so many sophisticated scams out there. Maybe your parent, elderly parent, or your kid off at college has fallen for one of these scams. If you get Vision's managed IT service for yourself, for your home, for your office, for your loved one, when you get a scam or something you think is a scam, you can call them. They pick up the phone and they answer. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTER, visioncomputers.com.
More local news.
An employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening. Atlanta's morning news.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
Do you want to give back to an individual with disabilities and help change a life? The Guide Dog Foundation and America's Vet Dogs are seeking volunteers to help raise future guide or service dogs. Puppy raisers provide loving homes for puppies until they are old enough to begin formal training. Help raise an adorable pup into a future guide or service dog for a person who is blind, visually impaired, a veteran, or a first responder. Visit puppy.guidedog.org to learn more. That's guidedog.org. Sponsored by the Guide Dog Foundation.
Don't be late because you crowdsourced your commute with a navigation app.
This might become a travel advisory. Yeah, they're in 2 left lanes.
Depend on us.
See some delays if they shut that ramp down.
Make sure you get where you need to be on time.
Jam starting at Langford Parkway, getting past Spring Street.
Local and dependable traffic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
We had a lot going on this morning through Henry County. WSB Triple Team Traffic.
95.5 WSB. How Atlanta gets there. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. A new report finds U.S. employers announced 1.1 million layoffs through October, the biggest total since the pandemic. John Challenger with the outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas says a Metro Atlanta-based company is among those with the largest number of layoffs.
2 companies leading the way were UPS, which announced 48,000 job cuts, and Amazon, which was talking about 30,000, and it was due to AI integration, also due to robotics at the Amazon company.
There were 153,000 layoffs announced just last month. The latest tracking of the number of homeless in Cobb County shows an uptick in recent years. Melanie Kagan with the Cobb Homeless Alliance says many factors are at play.
There's less places for people to go. We just don't have a lot of availability in general, and we have very limited affordability.
Kagan says affordable housing is the key to addressing the issue. Cobb commissioners are considering a new policy on homeless encampments with a vote expected later this month. Atlanta-based Delta Airlines says it will reduce flights beginning tomorrow to account for a directive from the FAA caused by the ongoing government shutdown. Delta says the vast majority of flights will operate as scheduled. Texas police say Dallas Cowboys player Marshawn Nealon is dead at the age of 24 after committing suicide. He was found early this morning after a multi-agency search following a car chase. It is now 2:31. This news is sponsored by FGA Roofing. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
You've probably heard that constipation and IBS can all be related to a lack of fiber in your diet. Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you or someone you know suffers from constipation or IBS, let the Bread Beckers show you the way to more fiber and regularity and to better health without swallowing a pill or a bad-tasting drink. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable, and delicious solution for your family that can change your life. This is not like the enriched bread you buy at the grocery store. It's real bread. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Been wanting a new deck for your home, something that's built just the way you want it, but you're scared to pull the trigger? I can help you with that. Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. Right now, Ben Hill Renovations are offering special financing. No interest if you pay in full within the 18 months promo period. You're welcome. Visit bhrenovations.com today and schedule a free design consultation at your home. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
It is 2:34 and time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center, it's Alex Williams.
Hey, Bill, got some better news up in Gwinnett County through Buford. All those brush fires look like they've all been doused and all lanes are back open. 985 southbound between Friendship Road and I-85. Heads up 85 northbound as you head up through Brookhaven. They've been dousing a car fire north of Claremont Road, exit 91. That's been in 2 right lanes. Use the access road or Buford Highway. And a crash in DeKalb County, I-20 westbound at I-285, exit 67. Slow in the ride back toward the mall at Stonecrest. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Warm sunshine today, high 75. Not quite as chilly overnight with lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Daytime highs stay in the low to mid 70s for the rest of this week into Saturday. Our next chance of rain moves in late Friday night through Saturday morning.
And very cold to start next week. 75 in Tucker, 71 now in Lithia Springs, 75 in Hampton. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. I want to just riff off a couple of stories here. One is from the Washington Post as an opinion piece by Jason Willick about how skeptical Neil Gorsuch was of the tariffs yesterday. So if you weren't around yesterday, you got to understand the situation here. Yesterday in the United States Supreme Court, Donald Trump's Solicitor General John Sauer had to admit in court that the way the president has interpreted IEPA, that is the International Emergency Powers Act, IEPA, their International Economic Emergency Powers Act, so IEEPA, IEPA, the way the president has interpreted the International Economic Emergency Powers Act would allow a Democratic president in the future to interpret it the same way, declare a climate emergency, and impose tariffs on auto parts into this country upwards of 50%. Someone responded to me when I pointed this out yesterday and said, well, that wouldn't affect domestic car manufacturers. That would just affect other people, and that's what we're doing now, and that's a good thing. And I was like, I didn't want to call the guy an idiot, but I was like, do you understand how many parts in your American-made car come from Mexico and Canada? The chair, the radio, oftentimes the leather, the carpeting, a lot of that stuff does not get made in the United States. And the engine, the hoses, fuses, things like that, they don't get made in the United States. They get made elsewhere, brought into the United States, put together here. It could dramatically drive up the cost of a fossil fuel burning car and force people into electric cars that would not actually get cheaper. Those prices would go up too as internal combustion engine cars go up. The electric manufacturers could raise their rates, and as long as they're lower than the tariffs, you're still getting a cheaper car, even though it's more expensive than it was. And John Sauer admitted that, yes, a Democratic president could do this. And Neil Gorsuch says, what if Congress just decides to get tired of legislating altogether and says to the president, here's Article 1, Section 8, you do with it as you want? John Sauer had to say, yeah, there are limits in how much Congress can give authority to the president. And Gorsuch wanted to know, what about the power of the purse? That's where he said that, well, tariffs aren't really raising revenue. And John Roberts interjected and said, well, then why are they talking about it's raising so much revenue it can pay down the national debt? It was not a good day for the president in court. And he did set a precedent by interpreting IEPA this way that a Democrat could weaponize it. And there are some in the crowd, the dimwits, who will say, well, they're going to do it anyway. Y'all, Joe Biden himself didn't do it, and he declared a climate emergency, and you're just convinced, well, they're going to do it anyway because Donald Trump did it. Yes, but they've never done it until Trump did it. He's setting the precedent. You got to give him credit for setting precedent. And then there's this story from Matthew Continetti, one of the smartest people out there. He writes, Republicans will be tempted to dismiss the 2025 election results. They shouldn't. The case against panic goes like this. GOP voters stay home when President Trump isn't on the ballot. The Democrats' money advantage was overwhelming, and Virginia, New Jersey, California, and New York City are Democratic bastions shaded navy to midnight blue on election maps. All true, all irrelevant. Republicans enter the midterm cycle shouldering two related burdens: economic dissatisfaction arising from high prices and a revolt among independents. To hold the House and avoid investigations and impeachment, Mr. Trump must come up with an affordability agenda and win back at least some of the independents fleeing the coalition, and do it quickly. Excuses don't help. Mr. Trump won't be on the ballot again. The Republican Party must find some way to export his appeal to other candidates. If the Democratic fundraising machine performs this well now, imagine what it will look like in 26 and 28. The off year Democratic wave flooded Republican safe harbors. Democrats flipped at least 13 seats in Virginia's House of Delegates. They plan to use their governing trifecta, control of the governor's mansion and both legislative chambers, to redraw the state's congressional map in their favor. New Jersey Democrats will enjoy their largest assembly majority in 52 years. Georgia Democrats won 2 seats on the Public Service Commission, the state's utility board. No Democrat has served on it since 2007. The Georgia result is striking. The issue was high electricity costs, and Republican incumbents paid the price. Inflation hasn't gone away. The annual rate has declined since June's peak of 9.1%, but 3% inflation is still above the 2% target of the Fed. The reality of high prices hasn't faded. Inflation is cumulative. Every decline in purchasing power makes the next reduction feel worse. Voters notice. According to the CNN exits, 55% of New York voters said the cost of living was the most important issue. Crime was a distant second. In Virginia, 48% of voters said the economy was most important. In New Jersey, taxes and the economy vied for priority. Inflation sinks presidencies. Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, and Biden all struggled to arrest declines in America's standard of living. The president rarely talks about affordability. He prefers to announce that inflation is dead and defeated. He points to falling gasoline prices, yet relief is fleeting. It can't compensate for the rising cost of groceries, housing, and health care. What's more, his policies that restrict the supply of goods and labor, such as tariffs and mass deportations, make the problem worse. So does badgering the Fed to cut rates before inflation is tamed. Ronald Reagan had a proven strategy to fight inflation. He provided stable money and pro-growth fiscal policy that's now working for Javier Milei in Argentina. And it would work for Mr. Trump, but it would require him to cease bullying the Fed, lower tariffs, and call for a round of cuts in marginal tax rates combined with spending restraint. That's about as likely as Zohran Mamdani advocating a capital gains tax cut. And now the problem is independents are beginning to flee, and Republicans are starting to look for what comes next. There is a cost of living problem in the United States right now. Economic anger is punishing Republicans right now. And Republicans are going to have to start thinking of new voices and new faces and new ideas. And Continetti is right. There are things the president can do today. Remember how good the first-term Trump administration economy was? And all he was doing was exactly what Continetti was describing. If Trump went back to his first-term economic policies, the Democrats would have real trouble next year, but I don't think he's going to. On top of that, you have voices on the right now who have been infected with crazy. Tucker Carlson, instead of putting on his most watched show on Twitter, Winsome Earl Sears or Jason Mieres or the Proposition 50 opponents or Andrew Cuomo or anyone like that, has been putting on neo-Nazis, neo-Nazi adjacent figures, radical conspiracy theorists, anti-American people, pro-Hamas people, anti-Semites, And then you're not allowed to criticize him because there's no enemy to the right of me. He won't focus on the left. He's focusing on tearing down the right. He's using his platform to sow division on the right. He's putting on gay groypers like Nick Fuentes and the like. It was in a group chat last night where somebody was like, listen, I think if we're not going to call out a conservative movement filled with a bunch of gay activists, we probably can't call out Tucker Carlson. I'm like, what is it? He just platformed Nick Fuentes, who is a gay neo-Nazi, allegedly. He apparently streamed gay porn and then blamed the Mossad. He also thinks that girls are gross and boys should stay away from it. It's weird stuff. It's weird stuff. And most of you haven't heard of him, but if you're hyper online, you have. And the guy has a following online. He's a neo-Nazi who denied the Holocaust, makes jokes about throwing Jews back in the ovens, and has said he's on Team Hitler. That's his quote, Team Hitler. And Tucker Carlson gives him a softball interview where the guy praises Joe Stalin, and Tucker doesn't even push back on him. You got Candace Owens out there spending an enormous amount of energy claiming the Jews killed Charlie Kirk and that the wife of the president of France is a dude. And yet they're getting a following because of the crazy conspiracy theories. And the Heritage Foundation used to play a gatekeeping role in this stuff to say, no, you can't, you're not welcome in the movement. There's a big report of the Washington Free Beacon. Kevin Roberts had an all-staff meeting where he fell on a sword, essentially admitting he had mishandled the Tucker Carlson situation. And at the end, Robert Rector stood up. Robert Rector's been at the Heritage Foundation for 47 years. He's a scholar on welfare. He's one of the experts in the United States on welfare reform. And he brought up, Robert Rector did, according to the Washington Free Beacon, William F. Buckley, and he said, I hope you know who he is. The boundaries that he set forth in the 1960s were twofold. You have to expunge all anti-Semitism, all of it. But that's just part of it. The other is you have to expel the lunatics, okay? The lunatics who thought Eisenhower was a communist. And we've got them back now. They're both back here, just the way they were in 1959. We got to go back and set the general parameters. You say, oh, we don't cancel. We do cancel. We do cancel. Did we cancel David Duke? Yes. Did we cancel the John Birch Society? Yes. Okay? Because they're harmful. Because if they're in your movement, you look like clowns. The issue here is Tucker Carlson. Tucker's show is like stepping into a lunatic asylum. He's absolutely right. It is. You got the neo-Nazis, the Hitler apologists, the revisionists of World War II, the Holocaust deniers. That's what Tucker and the people who think that Vladimir Putin is awesome and Russia is the greatest country ever. Those are the people Tucker Carlson platforms on the right. Now, apparently, the Heritage Foundation actually stopped funding Tucker's show during the Iran bombing phase when President Trump called him a kook. Sounds like they hedged their bets with Trump. But this gets me to Cottonetti and these other stories that Republicans risk losing independence with their economic policy, but also with the nuttiness on the right now, with the anti-Semitism on the right, with the platforming, the neo-Nazi adjacent fringe. You gotta be willing to set parameters. I had this discussion last night with a group of people I know. And one was like, well, what about the gays? The conservative movement shouldn't support gay marriage. We shouldn't support IVF. We shouldn't support all these things. Maybe that's the case, but we should all at least agree that the Nazis are bad. And if we can't agree foundationally, no Nazis, what are we even doing here? The Democratic Party's gone nuts, and in 2024, the nation embraced the Republicans in large part because the economy sucked and the Democrats went nuts. And now it seems like it's the Republicans' turn to go nuts. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be part of a coalition that excuses the Nazis. I'm not going to be part of a coalition that thinks, let's speculate on whether the wife of the president of France is actually a dude. That's insane. It's not worth my time to deal with. You shouldn't deal with question Charlie Kirk's assassination and suggest that maybe the Jews are behind it, behind everything else, and hey, let's go talk to the neo-Nazis and make nice with them. That's going to cost a lot. As Donald Trump begins to recede, the crazy voices are rearing their head. And if we don't clean up our own side, the voters will do it for us, and they'll go with the socialists on the left because they would rather the socialists than the Nazis. because, we sided with the commies to fight the Nazis the last time, and that's a plausible path forward for this country if the people on the right keep making kissy face with the Nazis and the Nazi adjacent. It's bad. It's wrong. The Nazis, we should agree, fundamentally bad. No Nazis on the right, please. And then we can work on the economy and get back the independence. All right, let me take some phone calls here before I jump to break. Steve, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Hey, Eric. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was wanting to get your opinion on an idea where, because of this shutdown as bad as it is, and long as it is, do you think they could, instead of getting rid of the filibuster, just go to a 55 or a 56 vote needed to pass it?
Well, they lowered it from 67 to 60, and the reason I don't think they'll lower it to 55 is that when you get to the 60 vote threshold, it's hard for either party to get to 60 seats in the Senate. The Democrats did it for a couple of months until a special election happened in Massachusetts back in 2010, 2011 after Ted Kennedy's death. The reason they want to keep it at 60 is because that forces bipartisanship. And the senators, you and I may not necessarily care for bipartisanship, but the Senate loves bipartisanship. And the 60 vote threshold forces a level of bipartisanship. I don't think they would change it. If they got it lower than that, then they might as well get rid of it. So I think it probably stays at 60. I mean, the Republicans right now are pretty close to 55 seats. They got 53 seats. They may pick up more, but I don't know if the Republicans keep going insane. They could lose the Senate next year if we keep picking up these fringe candidates in primaries.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
250 Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center still very slow between Union City and Fairburn on I-85 southbound. Delays start at Flat Shoals, all due to that rolling construction in 2 left lanes right around Highway 74, Sonoya Road. Use Highway 29 as an alternate. You also have right lane construction in Stockbridge, 75 northbound approaching 675. Really jamming up that ride back through McDonough. Traffic brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Learn more about their support of Common Threads and nutrition education at anthem.com/dream. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia, Inc. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the JamCam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Are you starting to consider a new roof, but not sure if it's needed or what it might cost?
Tim Andrews, if you're going to impersonate Scott Slade, you might want to add a little bottom.
A little bottom to it.
A little bass, yes.
I'm working on that.
Well, you don't have to impersonate me. We're both here for FGA Roofing.
I know them.
FGA Roofing offers their free drone assessment. And you'll know if it just needs a fix, a rejuvenation, or a new roof. They'll quote you a price, and if you mention Scott Slade, they'll take $750 off the quote.
What about me?
Mention Tim Andrews, they'll take $750 off the quote.
That's $1,500.
If you mention both of us. And here's the best part. That quote is good for 1 year.
With your good credit, you can take advantage of their 000 offer. That's 0 down payment, 0 payments for 18 months, and 0 interest.
They offer all types of roofs, from architectural or any of the high-end roofs like Slate.
Take the first step now and set up an appointment at FGAroofing.com. That's FGAroofing.com.
Or just Google FGA Roofing.
If you have Medicaid and are new to Medicare, you may qualify to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan with a lot more benefits, like dental, vision, and hearing, along with helpful support when you need it most. Now is the time to see if you qualify to enroll. It only takes a few minutes to find out if you're eligible. Our licensed sales agents are ready to help you understand your options. So this Medicare planning season, we can help you plan well. Learn more at humanaduals.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a dual-eligible special needs HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the cost of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Text ERIC to 33777 and get the 4 Things You Need to Know podcast. ERIC tells you the 4 things to pay attention to after the show. Also available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
Kazakhstan. That's the latest Arab nation to join the Abraham Accords. Kazakhstan. Linda, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I'm concerned about Puerto Rico and Venezuela and what's going to happen with our buildup there. And I have relatives there in Puerto Rico, and they're hearing all kinds of jets flying around. What is your take on it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the president is doing. By the way, we just flew B-52 bombers right up against Venezuelan airspace about 2 hours ago. There's a real pressure campaign going on, I think, from the president to oust Maduro. I don't know that he's going to be able to oust him without military intervention, what the president doesn't want to do, but it's a real show of force down there and trying to pressure Maduro and stop the narco traffickers. But if you're putting that many soldiers down there, that much of the military down there, you got to have something up your sleeve, and I think we're going to find out soon. Ivan, you're going to be up last. Welcome.
Hi, Eric. Appreciate your show. I was wondering, the FAA making these mandates about reducing flights, how can they tell a private business what to do?
Because every airport in the country is required to have air traffic controllers funded by the federal government. There is no private air traffic control in the United States. They're all federal employees. And so those air traffic controllers oversee planes on the ground and in the sky, and they get paid by the federal government, and many of them are taking days off work and going to work for Uber instead to make money to feed their families. So we have not enough people in air traffic control towers.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's it. Yeah, they're all federal employees. TSA, there's no such thing as a completely private airport in the United States. Every single one of them is a public-private partnership, except for the grass airstrip in your backyard. But you're not allowed to have air traffic control there. If you have air traffic control, you're a public-private partnership, and every airport that has commercial aviation has to have ATC, and it is funded by the government. In some countries, like Canada, they've privatized it and put it under a nonprofit, so it's not affected by government shutdowns. But ours is affected by government shutdown because it's controlled by the FAA, which is a federal entity. Now, let me tell you about Old Glory Bank, my bank. They could be your bank. You go to oldglorybank.com/Eric, oldglorybank.com/ERICK. You can get a checking account, a savings account. I've got both with Old Glory Bank. They got good interest rates. If you're a veteran, first responder, active duty military, they give you great deals on their premium accounts. You can do mortgages. You can do CDs. They're a fully functioning bank. You can even deposit cash, even though they're an online bank. You can get a custodial account for your kids. oldglorybank.com/Eric. Now, if you're a business, they have great business accounts. And you know, some progressives have targeted conservative-oriented businesses and gotten banks to cancel their accounts. You're not going to have that happen with Old Glory Bank. They were founded by conservatives to fight the de-banking trends. oldglorybank.com/Eric, oldglorybank.com/ERICK. Go check out Old Glory Bank today. They're a great bank. They really are my bank. They could be yours too. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, I got to be gone tomorrow to give a speech, assuming my flight makes it, and I will be back on Monday, assuming my flight makes it. You guys have a great tomorrow.
Where you're going is a given. How you're getting there?
Well, that's the question.
We will start to see some delays if they shut that ramp down on 285 East.
Before you hit the navigation
You're
app.
going to be slowing right around Hudson